Oh my. I probably should have moved before I started streaming. Ha! Well, I guess I can do that momentarily. Oh, attack! Attack! Quick! He's gathering the water. Oh no. Oh my. Okay. I'm not 100% sure I'm streaming yet, so I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds. Oh, Javin said something, which means he might be watching me fail at the Kanazo fight. No French. S'il vous plaît. Although it occurs to me, I might be able to actually... I just had this thought, even though this would be foolishness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double, double. Why is there a commercial? Oh, I guess that's a silly question. I know exactly why there's a commercial. Say something when the commercial's over, if you can even hear me right now. Is the commercial gone yet? I'm just kind of guessing here. Okay, come on. Give me Tella's turn before he dies. Right. In like 17 frames. Nope, no. Damn it, Tella. There we go. Don't do wave. Damn it, you bastard. Well, it's good to know for future attempts. And that's gonna kill Tella. Oh wow, it just barely killed him. Okay, so anyways. This is obviously an emulator. One of the things I plan on doing whenever I start streaming for real, I keep talking about that, my health hasn't quite been coordinate with this yet, and I've got a couple other problems in the way. But, one of the things I plan on doing, because I'll have the webcam up, I like how Zeiss says my voice is better. That's actually hilarious because, well, I'll get into it in a moment. Anyways, one of the things I'll have is I'll have the webcam actually set up. Now, I don't want to have the webcam set up right now because I look absolutely terrible. I have lost, like, I think 35 pounds now in the last couple months, and I am incredibly pale, and I just look terrible. You should see my skin. It's pathetic. So I'm not turning the webcam on yet, not until I'm a little bit better. I do have some pride. Yeah, 35, that's not a joke. That was at last check, too, which was 2 weeks ago, so might have lost more since then. Anyways, one of the things I plan on do is to take my webcam and actually grab my physical cartridges of these games I'm emulating for streaming purposes and be like, here, look, I own the game. I have legal rights, go away, don't bother me, just to make absolutely sure. Alright. The second thing I want to talk about real quick here before I really get started is I want to apologize for my voice. Maybe it just sounds really weird to me. I'm in a place right now, like my throat, the ulcer issue, the lesions, is fine, all things considered. In fact, it's better than it's been in a long time. But my neck, my lymph nodes are still quite swollen, and that means a lot of pain unless I'm relaxing my neck muscles in an extremely specific position. Like right now, I'm just kind of lounged out in this really odd position right now, just kind of like, and it's pushing my neck kind of down in on itself, and that's kind of why I sound so weird. So I apologize for my voice. Zeiss has said I should mention who these people are. I don't think I'm going to. These people said, no, I'm kidding. You guys are actually my only watchers right now. I'm not sure what to make of that. Nobody else has popped on yet. I'm not sure anyone's going to. But Esoje, I have no idea how the hell I'm pronouncing these correctly or incorrectly. Esoje is Javin, the third. I'm not saying the third is Snarg. Zeiss 13 is Zeiss. Anastma is Z. And you have no idea who these people are, of course, my YouTube viewers, as Zeiss mentions there. But these are the people who are in my online D&D campaign. Not all of them, obviously. There's a fairly large group, but only these are the ones who are online right now. And yes, Anastma is my sister. I've mentioned her before. It is extremely likely in the future when I start streaming for real with the webcam and everything that you'll be seeing her. I've already decided on a couple of featurettes that are going to have her present. I'm going to demand her time for that, whether she wants to or not. Anyways, so TASing, right? I've been asked what the hell TASing is. Now, TASing is actually really kind of hard to explain when it comes down to it, especially since the term by itself is like saying the term movie. When you think of a movie, you can explain it in generics, but when you try to compare one movie to another, the differences become obvious and magnified. You understand what I mean? So it's like, I'm giving you the general definition right now because what TAS means is tool-assisted S. Now, S can either stand for speedrun or superplay, depending on your mentality. Excuse me. Tool-assisted is, of course, the emulation and the tools that come with that. I'll show that in a bit more detail here in a second. Actually, you know what? As much as I want to show something in this specifically, I could get back to that later. So give me just a second here. In any case, that's what TAS stands for, right? I have nowhere to put this one. There we go. Snarg is going to see what backseat driving actually entails, and he might not like that fact. Surely I have an action game in here somewhere. No? Okay, let's go here then. Here we go. Let's just pull up Mario World. Everyone knows Mario World. And I own Mario World, so it all works out. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. Now, a TAS is okay. I've described what the acronym means. A TAS is when someone records input at a frame or mini-frame level with an emulator in order to show. Well, there's many different reasons you could do that, but that's the base definition. That's the movie definition. You are making a file which can then be played back and watched for entertainment purposes. And there's quite a bit of a community surrounding TASing at this point in time. It was relatively unknown until a gentleman whose name I unfortunately can't think of right now did two very famous TASes for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3. Even if you've never heard the term TAS or have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a pretty good chance you have seen one of these runs. They made quite a bit of a circuit of the internet at the time. And most people did not understand what a TAS was. And so they assumed this was someone playing with a controller or whatnot, which is not the case. That is a speed run. Let's go ahead and stop this. And this is me playing here, right? I'm not actually going to record, because I don't feel like recording on this file, but let me just demonstrate a little bit of what TASing is. Let me figure out the controls here for a second. That's jump. Is this run? This is run, okay. Now, TASing is the ability to play like this. Hang on. This is playing at the frame level. Up, there we go. When you're playing at the frame level, as you might imagine, the level of precision you can do is insane. I'm not actually trying here. I don't know Mario World well enough to TAS like I used to. I actually did do a TAS of Super Kaizo World once upon a time. And then we're going to do this. And you could just be like, the frame, right there. And there's all sorts of complications here that I'm just kind of not covering. But you can play at the frame level. Now there's one other thing we're going to demonstrate here. Let's say I'm like, and then I missed those coins. Hang on. Okay. I need to catch those coins. It's important. Ah, shoot. Okay, I missed the coins again. Hang on. There we go. Perfect. Now this save will keep. And usually you'll, make another save to say, okay, here. That is frame timing and save states, and those two are basically the tools of TASing in a nutshell. Now, to be completely honest, there are other such tools, yeah, that's great, at this point in time that people use. I do not. That's one of the things I'll actually be talking about later. and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about TASing in general. But let's just focus on what TASing is. I've had actually quite a few people be like, what is this? What's involved? Etc. 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 Am I holding down Y properly? I feel like I'm not. Whee! So, as you can see, and if you really stop to think about it, I don't blame you if you don't, but simply those two tools by themselves, the ability to act at a frame level, or at any rate. One of the other things you could do if you are doing something particularly boring or you don't feel like actually trying, is you can just turn down the speed. This is actually pretty useful for platformers if you're not that good at them. Like me. I'm actually quite good at platformers in general, but I am not good at platforming and TASing. I'm just not. There's a reason I've only done one ever. Whee! Don't forget Quake 2. That was a huge beginning for speedrunning. That's when it really started to explode. Whole sites developed to it and everything. And you can see here that I was, mere inches from that Koopa, and it's really not that hard when you're playing at this level to be able to pull stuff off. And of course, if for whatever reason I felt like playing at hyperspeed because I hate myself, go back, Yoshi! Shoot! Yeah, got him. Okay. Obviously, this is not a game that really should be played at hyperspeed, but there are plenty of times when you actually might want to. Okay, this is my challenge. Finish the level at hyperspeed. Okay, hang on. Okay, I can do this. Okay, hang on. Give me one more try here. I got 3 more lives. I got 3 more lives. Okay, get over that guy. Get that guy. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. I didn't make it that time. I can do this. Yes, behold the power. Oh, I even hit that guy. Okay. Whoa! Shoot! Reactions! Okay. Moving back to the point. Yes, I am streaming. Streaming. I'm having trouble talking, but I am also streaming. Okay. With those two tools in hand, you can do all sorts of things. Now, I already mentioned TAS, tool-assisted speedrun. That's because like 99%, well, that's actually not true, more like 90% these days, of all tasks you will see are pure speedruns. Beat the game as quickly as possible, right? Just pure and simple. That can be entertaining, especially if you do it right, but somewhere along the line, this is where I get into something that may make me unpopular if there are any actual tasters out there watching this. Somewhere along the line, people got a little bit crazy with it. My personal favorite example of this is a game called A Boy and His Blob, which is on the NES. And actually, you know what? I'm going to demonstrate this for you. You'll have to give me just a moment. But I know how to do this. We're just going to drag this over here, nice and simple. Actually, let's just go to TAS Videos. TASvideos.org in case anyone's actually curious. I do not publish to this site. I never will. They would never accept my TASes because of reasons I'll get into here in just a moment. I've just started this subject. But they'd hate the hell out of me. They'd look at me like I'm the worst amateur in the universe, and I really don't feel like that kind of rejection. So, not gonna bother. Did I already pass it? Blob. No. Is this it? I do believe this is it. Hang on just a second. Scroll over. We're going to mute that because Boy and His Blob has horrible music. Okay, so, for anybody who knows A Boy and His Blob, this is going to be more poignant. But I just want to get across the point here, okay? Very first thing, he starts the game, tosses the root beer jelly bean at the blob. Okay, he gets the rocket, he goes to the second world. Okay, that's it's crazy, but alright, no problem. We can make this work, You have the big old long cutscene because this is how this particular game handled zones, if you even want to call it that at this point in time. And by the way, I would rather not be an Irish underwear model person. Okay, so, you see what he's doing here? He is Oh, this is the new version. I'm sorry, this won't illustrate what I wanted quite as well. Yeah. That's the ending screen he's walking through. There's the credits he's walking through. There's the last boss he's walking through. Alright, which has already been defeated, for anybody who recognizes this. And, okay, he's giving him the tangerine again. So, tangerine, trampoline. Yeah, makes sense, right? Oh, there we go. Reloaded the last boss. Okay, this isn't making my point. This is actually amusing. I gotta be honest. This is not making my point. I'm sorry. That's a little hilarious that he actually did better. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Let's watch this one real quick, shall we? Mute. Come on, YouTube, you can do it. I know I'm streaming. Okay, same thing. Uses the root beer to get the rocket. Now let's see if he does this in the way that I imagine he will, so I can make my damn point. Yep, I think so. Yep, okay. So what he did there, I'm not going to explain the technical details. There's actually quite a bit of work that went into this, and let me make this clear. I am not deriding or looking down upon the TAS community. They just do things in a way that I don't enjoy and don't do myself, and don't enjoy doing myself. But this is the run. This is the test. This is what I consider the best example of when beat the game as quickly as possible has destroyed all other concerns and considerations. All he's doing is running through the game. That's it. I mean, I'm just going to let this keep playing, but you get the point. This really is it. This is the whole game. He's using a trick to run faster, and he used a trick to despawn everything, and he wins. He just runs through the game. It's, in my personal opinion, from an entertainment perspective, incredibly boring. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Jovan. This is ridiculously boring. And this is the type of task that was becoming the commonplace for quite a while now. This is a few years ago. We have said, and you notice he's just still doing this. Since then, there has been a little bit of a resurgence of the kind of tasks I like, which are entertainment-based. You know what I mean? The entire purpose is to be fun. To actually be like, hey, awesome, I could give you a billion examples of that. I'm not going to bother. I just wanted to show you this one. By the way, this is the last boss room. I know you can't tell. And, yep. End screen. He wins. 2 minutes and something. What was it? 1 minute 56.67. Or... it doesn't actually say... how many frames was that? How many frames, damn it? Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point being, I was trying... the more I saw that's actually what finally convinced me to really start TASing, believe it or not. Was watching his well, not his, that guy specifically, but the boring nature that TASes were getting to. I'm just kind of moving around here. I don't have anything to do with this. So you have something here. He despawned actually every... I'm not even sure what to call it, actually. Every object in the game, basically, except himself. And he uses a trick pretty much right at the end to respawn the blob. Pulls it down, pops into a place he should not be able to reach with a couple of strategic glitches, and then uses the one jellybean whose name I actually can't think of, whose only purpose is to beat the last boss, and then he wins. And that's the run. I could literally just describe it to you in a nutshell, in three bullet points: root beer rocket, runs, and despawns and runs, last boss, boom. Now, I got into TASing as what I like to call a creative form. A creative outlet is actually what the word I'm looking for here. Because I enjoy... You know what? Hang on a second. Actually, where is that? I enjoy making tasks. I do. I make no anything about that. I do actually enjoy sitting down and doing all this. And one of the things I've always thought of TASing as, it's very technical. It is extremely technical, and I understand that certain people aren't into that. I mean, duh, There is so much... Here we go. There's so much going on and so much to explain and so much to be understood that it's... Not everyone is going to be interested in the fact that he just juggled the OAM with such precision and 8 inputs at the same time in order to trigger the ending cutscene. Not everyone's going to care about that. Hang on just a moment here. Now, when I TAS, I have a completely different mindset for it. Oh, good. It looks like it's working. This is a TAS. I'm just going to kind of let this play. This is the Kaizo World TAS that I did. Not the best one in the world. I TAS to be entertaining. Pretty much first and foremost, but as I've mentioned before when I was talking about speedrunning, I don't actually like to speedrun by itself per se, as much as I do like to do challenge runs. I like to go into a game and say, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and that. I'm going to try and restrict myself from this, that kind of thing going on. By the way, if you haven't played Kaizo World, I strongly recommend it. It's insanely, psychotically difficult. It was difficult to TAS, which should say something because I was playing this at the frame level. Anyways. So, for example, when I was playing my first quote-unquote professional TAS, the first one I'm really proud of, which I'll be actually doing a commentary stream of at some point, which is called Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. You may have heard of that game. I said, okay, I'm going to go into this, and I am going to use my sword as little as possible. I'm never going to get hit. I'm going to be precise. I had all these goals, all these challenges lined up, and I was like, I'm going to do every one of these in a priority order. Admittedly, speed was one of those, but it was the very last one. Now, again, I'm kind of getting into this to just kind of explain where my mentality is on this. While I do try to run games quickly, yes, I am very interested to see what they do with the sequel. I am very hopeful it is not just a rehash of the sequel that already came out in Japan only. Moving on. But that's generally my mentality with it. I'm trying to make a work of creative outlet where I'm trying to be entertaining, and at the same time I'm entertaining myself in making it. Now that makes sense, right? Yes, Samantha, I did. Anyways, so that's the first point. When I say TASing, the kind of TASes I do is that kind of thing. For example, like I just told you about the Zelda one, I have a Chrono Trigger one. It's kind of long, and I beat the game with Chrono at level 1 and everyone else at the mathematically lowest level physically possible to do. I'm also working on 2 other TASes semi-actively right now. One for Final Fantasy IV, which is kind of hard to explain, but it's basically Cecil's solo, except when it's the plot requires it, if that makes any sense. And the FF6 one is what I call a story TAS, which I'd have to really sit down and explain. Because that's actually really complicated. I'm, in fact, still kind of planning that one because there's just a ludicrous amount of stuff to plan. But anyway, so that's TASing the way I do it. I don't know if any of you guys out there, any of my streamers or the people on YouTube when I upload this to YouTube, will find that interesting. But I have both an interest and several people who have requested that I do actually put my TASes out there in some format. I will be commenting on every single one of them, except for the one you're watching right now. All I could say to Kaizo World is this game is psychotically insane, and I didn't think it was actually beatable at first. That's not a joke. I actually didn't think this game was beatable at first. Anyways, I mean, look at some of these jumps, for goodness sakes. I could have done the A-hop there, but I decided not to. And this ghost took me like, I don't know, 300 re-records to get by. Anyways, let's talk about a couple other things about TASing really quick, just to get the details out. You'll notice in the upper left there is actually a frame counter. I can actually get rid of that, just like this. But the frame counter is extremely useful when you're TASing. One of the biggest reasons, and I get this is obvious in hindsight, but I know a lot of people haven't really thought about this. You can't actually do input in most games at a per frame level, and the reason why is if you think about it, if on frame 1 you hit A, and on frame 2 you hit A, and frame 3 you hit A, you don't hit A 3 times. You are holding A down continuously because there has not been a pause period between you holding A. You understand? Now you can use frame threading, which I usually don't do. Most of the stuff I do is not nearly complicated enough to require that kind of insane work. But the general concept is the absolute fastest you can input is every other frame. And you'll notice the frames are just zooming by there. So try and think about inputting at every one of every 2 of those. which is how such thing is done, especially in a game like this. You see me doing stuff like that where I'm going so fast I am blurring. That is actually literally every other frame visually personified, so you can see what it looks like. God, I hated this level. This is the level I thought was impossible, by the way. You'll see why in a moment. None of this. I got through this. I was actually fancy here. I was rather pleased with how this first section turned out, as insane as it was. So, you can only input one every other frame. You also have something called a lag counter. That's that second number up there, the 1394 at the moment. A lag counter is extremely useful for someone who's trying to be optimally efficient. It's actually kind of complicated to explain, but in summary, every time that number is ticking up, the game does not accept input. You'll notice it hasn't ticked up for this entire level. That's because for this entire level, even during that little load screen type thing when Yoshi grew up, it was still accepting input. And you'll notice there was just one frame of it right there where it was not accepting input because of lag. Hence why it's called a lag counter. Trying to minimize lag is something that's very important to speedrunners and TASers both. I'm not going to get into that whole thing right here. I'm actually going to be quiet for just a second, because you got to appreciate this section right here. This is the section I thought was impossible. Go down, hop one every 3 frames, go to the right, A jump, perfect aim again, duck, up, down, still going faster. And down, get hit there because you can't avoid it, barely make it out of there, jump to the pipe, and if you don't hit the pipe, there's a wall that just kills you because the screen is pushing you over to it. And the end, yay! That looks so simple rewatching that. I actually put this game down, this task down, because I didn't think I could finish it on that section. And then you fall into the lava. God. If you ever feel like hating yourself, play Super Kaizo World. Oh my god. This is the first one, by the way, for those of you who know. And I mention that because there are actually more than one now. Yeah, they actually decided to make sequels to play or to make... Yeah, anyways. Moving along. God. Now, what I just demonstrated there was the fact that in a task level, you have a greater understanding of hitboxes. When you're... A hitbox is easy to explain. Mario has a hitbox that is not actually the size of his sprite. You'll notice it when I was doing it earlier. He actually was capable of having like a full 3/4 of his head covered by the boo, and was not being hit by the boo because that's not where his hitbox was. That's the part that's important. And I'll demonstrate this here in just a second because you've got so little room to move there. You notice it actually glitched out the sprite there, because that's the portion that is not his hitbox. Having an understanding of where those are and all that sort of thing. Like I said, I'm going to shut up now as far as the technical explanation, but that is actually my point. TASing, for me, is a great creative output. I love doing it. I very much enjoy doing it. I enjoy sharing it with people. But it is a very technically minded thing. It is very much like an engineering thing, you know, as opposed to an artist who will stand at a piece of canvas and draw with his paintbrush. An engineer will design, you know, a specific type of paint gun that will put out an output of just the exact right of paint in the right colors, so that it actually creates the picture. You understand the difference? Both, in my opinion at least, are valid forms of creative output, creative art. The difference is in the execution. Obviously. Excuse me, getting kind of dry here. I should probably get some water in a second. Whee! Oh god, I hated this part. It's harder to make it to that in time than it sounds. Speaking of bosses that just hate you. Oh my goodness. So anyways, I was actually going somewhere with that. Oh, okay. So that's my views on TASing. That's the difference between TASing and speedrunning, and that's the way I tend to do TASing and why I'm different than most other TASers. And honestly, this is kind of leading to something that I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit. I really want to share my tasks. To date, 3 people have watched the task you're watching right now. Obviously, that number has just gone up a little bit, but up until today, only 3 people have watched my Kaizo World task. Only 1 person watched my Evo Search for Eden task. One person watched an hour of my Chrono Trigger TAS. 2 people watched my Zelda TAS. Most of these were the same people. So, even if nobody actually has an interest in it, and I know this sounds horribly selfish, I just really kind of wanted to share this with somebody to really get it out there. Because again, as I said, there is no chance, no possibility of the actual TAS site ever publishing my videos. They don't have a category or a type of publication for just what it was referred to as play around, is actually what people call it now. And even if they did, I know I'm simply not to the level of perfection they are, which I guess I can segue that into the next topic here really quick. Some of you out there who are aware of TASing and how TASing works are aware of 2 things that you'll notice I didn't mention in my tools. That's because I don't use them. They're very much related to each other. One is memory reading. I demonstrate, but frankly I don't feel like it. In short, memory reading is the ability to look at the OAM and REM and RAM of the game, the ROM that's playing, at every frame, at every second that it's being run and it's being read. And you have to understand what those values mean. And yeah, RNG manipulation is the net result of this, but that's actually the second tool, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. But you do have the ability to, if you understand what you're looking at, edit and manipulate what you're looking at. And the reason, if you'll forgive me for geeking out for just a second, is because RNG, which stands for random number generation, doesn't actually exist in its literal form. There is no such thing as random when it comes to computer programming. There are some theoretical exceptions with quantum computing. I say theoretical because they have not been proven to satisfaction yet. But every single computerized or electronic device in the entire world throughout history has not had true randomness. They have instead charts, lists, and systems to go through, gotta stretch my arm about, to go through and determine what's happening for everything. Every example, in any video game you've ever seen ever, every example of AI, of what the enemies are doing, what abilities they use, how much damage those abilities do, the speed with which they move, the ability for you to move, literally every aspect of a video game is determined by these RNG values. So you can understand why the ability to view that memory and to manipulate it through input is so valuable. Now that's the second thing I'm getting to here, which is basically Lewis scripting and specific inputting. The type of RNG every video game uses is actually different. It literally varies from game to game. I'm not going to go into specifics, I actually know quite a few, but the vast majority of video games use input to determine RNG. Hence, you can manipulate the RNG simply by having additional input while you're playing the game. Now, obviously, that's the sort of thing that they never really planned for, because in order to do that, you have to be able to say, for this frame, I'm going to push up. Pushing up will cycle the RNG forward 1 value. Now, I'm pushing up in the middle of a jump, like that jump I was just doing there. I pushed up in the middle of that jump at frame 46,682. And at that specific frame, that changed the RNG value of where something... there's not a good example on this level, but just bear with me. Where a certain enemy would appear. And that changed the value to 8. So now that enemy is going to show up at whatever the 8 value is. And you get where I'm going with this. I could really, really, really go into detail on this. I'm trying not to, because I know that I'm a total geek, and not everyone is that interested in this sort of thing. God, I hated this level. Oh my goodness. But yeah, there's so many ways to do that. There's so many ways to manipulate the RNG, and one of the primary methods of RNG manipulation and RNG optimization is Lewis scripting. Lewis scripting is why certain games have, why the TAS with the biggest re-records to date for record, which has a re-record record of something along the lines of 6 million, which is insane, is the very first Dragon Quest Monsters game, because there were so many random variables that they wrote a Lewis script. Well, thank you, Threlemental? I'm going to go with Threlemental. I think that's what I'm going to call it, because I like the sound of that, Threlemental. Or is it Threlemental? No, that doesn't sound quite as well. 3 Elemental, we'll just go with that. But yeah, so many of those RNG values have to be manipulated at a macroscopic level. Which means, For example, say I was playing FF4, which is the one I'll be pulling up here in just a second. As I'm playing FF4, the number of variables in any given fight are actually huge. There is a gargantuan amount of variables for me to keep track of. If I want to optimize every fight for every fight, I need to do and check input and frame input on every frame a lot. You understand? That's where Lua scripting comes in order to determine the optimized route by punching in the specific code and optimization and the RNG reader, basically, which is constantly scrolling down the list of the RNG in order to determine it. By the way, this is not a glitch. The last boss of Super Kaizo World, it's the exact same as the Bowser fight from Mario World. All he did was he removed the sprites for the enemies, except for those little things there and when they're hit. So, that's the challenge. They're frickin' invisible. Anyways, just side note there. Please don't play Kaizo World. Unlike many games I recommend, this is not on that list. This game will make you want to kill yourself. So Lua scripting and memory reading are two things I do not do. Admittedly, part of that is because I don't know how to do it that well, because I've never actually tried, but also part of that is because, for me, that's going too far. For me, that is just too much. You know what I mean? I still want to be playing the game to some extent. I may be playing it at the frame level, or at the slow motion level. I may actually be sitting here, you know, optimizing and planning and strategizing and all this stuff, but I still want at the core of the element to be enjoying making it. You understand what I mean? So I don't use those two tools. This is one of the reasons I have such difficulty TASing. One of the reasons why my Chrono Trigger TAS turned out the way it did. I'll explain that when I get there. For those of you who are curious and actually interested in reading it, or watching it, I should say, I plan to commentate and stream my Chrono Trigger TAS whenever I'm done with my Chrono Trigger playing. Or my playthrough, my Let's Play, whatever you want to call it, the challenge run. Oh, God. So, let's get back to the modern age here. To something a little bit more boring than me running around and beating the crap out of Super Kaizo World. And I apologize for my boringness. Hang on, gotta get all the way to that final screen. There we go. Now, this... No, okay. Wrong directory. There we go. 1 hour and 42 minutes long so far. Some of you may recognize this game. I hope many of you do. This is a game I've been wanting to test for some time. You can see, by the way, good example. There's that frame counter that went up. It's already up to 158 frames of non-input. Oh goodness. Now I'm gonna skip ahead just a bit here because there's nothing to do here. Whenever I actually stream this, assuming I actually finish this task, which is getting to my point really, I'll go ahead and do my commentation properly. Skip ahead, still not actually in control. There we go. We're just gonna skip until I get outside. No. There we go. This is another thing. Every game accepts input at a different level and at a different rate. In Final Fantasy IV, for example, to use a specific example here that I'm staring at, you can do every other frame input. However, the game has trouble keeping up with it if you go past, I believe, 7 frames of that. So, and this was especially true in Chrono Trigger. Obviously, I finished the Chrono Trigger task, so I really got used to what I call the flow of that game, which was ludicrous because after quite a while there, it got to the point where you do an input, wait a frame, do an input, wait a frame, wait 3 frames, do another input, wait a frame, and you just get into this pattern. You can't. It's not static. You can't just do every other frame input. It doesn't work that way. Because certain games are literally not programmed to be good enough to process that kind of input. So, There are some exceptions, of course. I meant to talk about this earlier. You saw me going through the menus at Mach 20. That's because virtually every menu system isn't actually rendering sprites in the heads. Isn't rendering sprites in the strictest sense of the word. So because the palettes are not having difficulty keeping up, you can actually go ahead and move at the full speed of the processor of the SNES. What's sad is I really summarized that, but I'm trying to get across some of the technical details that really have to go into this kind of thing. I mean, this is just to start. This is just to start TASing. You have to be aware of some of this stuff. Excuse me. Now, let's go ahead and skip ahead for a bit here. You'll note... Okay, let me actually take a step back. My intended Final Fantasy IV TAS, like I said, I don't do pure speed runs. I do challenge runs, like... like the Chrono Trigger one, like the Zelda one. The intent for FF4 should be obvious now that you're staring at it. It was going to be a Cecil solo run. I think I've already mentioned that, but you get the point. Well, this required a ridiculous amount of planning, to say the least. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit here. And I do mean a ridiculous amount of planning. To date, every single combat you've seen me get in, every single item I've picked up, everything I've done up to this point of the task was planned out in literally months in advance in order to purely optimize everything leading up to what I call a crucial point. I don't know what other people call it who task, but I call them crucial points. A crucial point is when you've reached a certain point in the task and it is difficult, for either because in general or because of whatever rules you have set for yourself, like my challenges, for example. Often, a game will be building up to multiple crucial points, and there's simply... You really do have to work your way around so many different things in order to make that function, in order to get to that point, and then have it be possible, because even with frame timing, even with save states, some things are just flat impossible. I call those the A plus B greater than C formulas, okay? I know I'm throwing a lot of terminology at you here. I do apologize. I have been TASing for many years at this point, and I'm pretty sure most of these terms are my own, because, I'm weird like that. Hang on a second. But an A plus B greater than C is a situation where the math has to be, like I just said, A plus B greater than C. If it isn't, it doesn't matter how quick you are, it doesn't matter how many strategies you use, it doesn't matter what you do, if the math doesn't support it, you have failed. The run has stopped, the run has failed, and you have to figure out some alternate way around this. That kind of situation is the bane of TASing for me, and I have encountered many. In this FF4 run alone, I have already encountered 3. Let's go ahead and skip ahead a little bit more here. All of this, all things considered, is actually quite easy. But again, all of this is planned. Every single thing I do, up until a certain point here, okay, in the entire run, was planned for a specific point. A crucial point, like I was just talking about. And we'll just go ahead and let it play, because we're almost there. I think some of you who know FF4 or FF2 can already guess what that crucial point is. But rather than get ahead of myself, I'm just going to keep talking. Right now, the main reason I bring up FF4 in the immediacy is because I am at a crucial point where A plus B is not greater than C. There is no math to fix this situation. Literally, 0. I cannot get around this. I cannot fix it. I cannot defeat the boss I'm at. I'll talk about it more in specific when I get there. But I'm staring at the situation and trying to think of what exactly I can do in order to resolve the situation. And yes, this is a TAS, Rory, like I said. Although I should probably, it just occurred to me, I should probably change the name of the stream. Can I do that live? Let's find out here really quick. Ah, shoot. No. Shoot. Everywhere. Okay, hang on a second. We're just going to do this. Hang on. I'll do that over there. There, okay. Except that's not working. No. Oh, there we go. We'll just do this. There we go. Okay, look at FF5 for a bit while I pull this up. I've forgotten what I was pulling up now, because I'm just that stupid. What was I pulling? Ah! Stream, right. Can I change the name in progress? Because I forgot to change it already, because I'm stupid. Oh, for God's sakes. Hang on, technical difficulties. I should just turn off the SNES one while I'm at it. There we go. Yay, updated. Not that it matters now. I really need to get better about remembering to change that thing before I start streaming. It's harder to remember than it sounds, especially because it's so weird. Ah, okay. SNES back on. FF5 off. Chat back on. Ah, okay. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Yay, I have viewers. That's always nice. I actually only play with one monitor, but that's because I have a gargantuan monitor of awesome, and I'm quite pleased with it. There's other reasons too. I'm not going to get into those. What the hell was I talking about? By the way, that looks like a mistake I just made, that little extra thing. That was RNG manipulation in a nutshell. If I hadn't done that, I would have had a back attack where the 4 flans would have been able to go first against me. So all I did was altered my input by 1 step, by 1 frame, and that changed the combat I got into. I mention this because even though I don't do memory reading and I don't do Lewis scripting, I do know how to manipulate some RNG, because I understand how the RNG works. I'm just not doing it perfectly to make everything perfect forever. Here we are, crucial point 1, 140,000 frames in. The reason this is a crucial point is I have Cecil only, all I can do is attack, and the Antlion constantly counterattacks every melee attack you do to it. This took a surprising amount of planning and in-depth thought and focus in order to get around this obstacle, the Antlion. Hey, Coca-Cola Sparks, what's up? And so I actually gave up the run for the first time at this point when I first reached the Antlion with the run the way it had been. Now you notice I'm doing fine here. I'm not going to explain in detail all of the things that I did in order to make this work. And we're actually going to speed this up a bit. This is one of the only problems with TASing certain types of fights, like RPGs, is because when you do a challenge like that, sometimes the fights drag on a bit. You'll see this in the Chrono Trigger run, too. Ended it with 40 HP. Holy crap. Now, what's funny is my very first time going through, I had forgotten to allot for the fact that Rydia would still be level 1 because she never got a single point of experience. So I go to res her with a life 1 I specifically picked up to do so, and cast Warp to get the heck out of here. And then I realized that she was level 1 and didn't have anything, and that plan went away. Let's go ahead and skip ahead a bit, because I'm basically done talking. I just kind of wanted to talk about TASing in general, why I like it, why I wanted to share it with you guys. But there is something specific with regards to the FF4 run here. I am basically at another crucial point. Sorry, adjusting the mic. And I knew this crucial point was coming, but like I said, this is an A plus B greater than C. I cannot overcome the fight that I am at. You're going to laugh at me. Anybody out there who knows this game is going to laugh at me when you figure out what the fight is. Hang on. Getting close. Just had some real issues with Mylon Z. Was something like 3 hits away from dying there. Now what's funny about that is I then went out and was like, okay, I need to get at least 3 levels out here. And yet this normal trash mob just destroyed me. I had to start curing through battles and everything. Oh my god. And then these pack of zombies nearly kill me because I'm level like 2. Skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead. Come on. Almost there. Alright. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Hang on. I'm gonna go ahead and make a save here for future reference. Those of you in my online group may recognize the name of the next boss, which I had no problem destroying, even before doing what I'm about to do. Which is kind of funny. His name is Bagan. May or may not sound familiar. If it doesn't, you lose brownie points. I'm just saying. Oh, goodness. Oh, FF4 is awesome. I recommend the DS version if you can get a hold of it. It is a proper remake with updated graphics, UI, and everything. Story, dialogue. They added new functionality. They added a new game plus. Awesome remake. Oh, come on. Okay, let's just skip ahead a bit here. Unequip everybody. Get the formations proper. We're gonna go and do saves right here too. Use the key. Alright. This cave was hell. And I bet you can already guess why. If you saw the performance I had and how poorly I was doing when I was fighting the basic zombies, which my weapon is good against, does improve damage against, as well as the lamias and other things like that on Mount Ordeals. You can imagine how I started doing against these fights. Oh, excuse me. And you can see... you can see that I do actually... combat input is very strange. Most of the time you can do it fast enough where the hand doesn't even show up. It kind of depends on what you're doing, though. This first battle is kind of boring, actually. It's just me killing off the party members while trying to be efficient about it. Which takes a lot of thought, admittedly, but, you know, as you can see, it also takes some time. And then we win. Yay! And Cecil Gunn's a level. Yay! And I figure, okay, I'm set. When I very first reached this point, which was actually something like 6 months ago, because I put this task down again, actually gave up on it, I'm like, okay, I'm set, I know what I'm doing, I need to gain up to 21. Up to level 21 in this place. Not a problem. Okay, I'm at 425 HP. We're gonna just do this. Two shots on the crocodiles. One shot on the snake, and it's gonna be something like 4, I believe, on the worm. You notice my HP is already down to the point where I nearly died just now. That was some frame input in order to manipulate how much he was hitting me for. Ended that fight at no HP. Fortunately, I still had a couple of Cure 2s, and then I encountered these guys. Now, the real problem, for those of you who know this game inside and out, and you're already telling me, well, Arshangaya, here's your problem. The way the game calculates who goes when, it takes into account how many people are on both sides. If I had a full party of 5, I would actually be getting more turns relative to how much time has passed. Well, okay. Cecil himself would be getting more turns relative to how much time has passed versus the enemy, which, as you'll see, is getting 1 or, in some cases, 2 turns per my 1. And again, had to heal myself and ended at virtually no HP. So I'm in trouble at this point. But it's okay. I've got a plan. At that point, I gave up, and I just flat abandoned it. But I'm like, wait, okay. I got a plan. Came back like 3 days later. I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about this. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go up here, because the entire enemy formations setup is completely different up here. I did that to edit RNG, in case you're wondering. Now these guys are much easier, even at my level. Well, actually, in A level, I will be able to one-shot them. And they hit for relatively low, and they cast Mini, which will kill me if it gets off. Unless I do that with the only heal I had, so... every future time I make sure that the Mini doesn't land. Almost out of cures, by the way. And my point is that I can actually deal with these mob things. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to level. No problem. We're going to skip ahead a lot. Because what I did was I leveled 221, just like I said. Went up to Bagan, defeated Bagan, destroyed him. No problem. And then I got to Kenazo. Now, some of you may be unaware... Yes, I'm still leveling. We're going to go ahead and stop about here, though. Some of you may be unaware of Kenazu's AI script because he's pathetic. If you're playing this game for real, you have Tella in your party who casts Bolt 3 twice, and he's dead. The end. You win. I have just Cecil. Okay, no problem. Cecil hits kind of hard, and Kenazu doesn't actually do that much damage. He's still a pathetic boss, right? In Kenazu's Phase 2, after he's down below half health, his AI script changes. He will retreat into his shell, which increases his physical defense by about a third, I believe. He will summon the water around him, so he does waves more often and as a counterattack. And every 1/3 of his cycles, or 1 in 3 of his cycles, he will cast a spell called Remedy, which heals him for exactly 400. What you're witnessing now is my 7th attempt at taking down Kenazu. I've actually been working on this for the past week because, well, frankly, because TASing is one of the only things I can do without a great deal of pain right now. I can't play video games normally because of how much my arms hurt and stuff. Hell, just sitting here kind of hurts. But I was able to TAS this, and I tried the first time, got to Kenazu, just could not kill him because when he got to Phase 2, I was doing too little damage. He was out-healing my damage, literally, so I'm like, okay. I tried a couple new tricks, a couple new strategies, that didn't work. Okay. Tried getting a few additional items to manipulate the situation and get the RNG optimized. Didn't help, didn't change anything. Okay. And so finally, I put it down and I'm like, okay, what the heck am I supposed to do? Talked to a couple of my friends, including my sister. I said, do I give up or do I go grind? What you're seeing now is attempt 7. The grind. I'm just running around trying to hit level 30, which I am about to do, or about to get the X that will push me to 30 with Bacon. The Bacon fight. Now, the irony here, we're going to go and skip past this fight a bit. There we go. The irony of this bit, okay, I'm on the verge of the level I need to be. Bacon will push me over the mark. He'll give me 4,000 X. No, Baigen, B-A-I-G-E-N. In any case, Baigen's actually quite an easy fight, especially as leveled as I am now. However, I have used all of my healing items and all of my MP getting to this point. In fact, there it is, right there. Now you notice I used a life to get Tella up. That's because we are now looking at attempt 8. Well, sorry, it's just Baigan. B-A-I-G-A-N. My bad. Whatever. So yeah, this is attempt 8 you're now looking at. Now this worked out really smoothly, but it put a bad taste in my mouth because Tella's alive. I mean, really, I don't have to say anything else other than the fact that Tella is alive. I have officially failed my Cecil solo challenge because I was literally incapable of accomplishing it. I had no healing items left. I had no ability to heal left. No matter how quickly I killed Bacon, he would get me to the point where I was at about 227 health. Yes, that much exactly. I'd kill Bacon, and I would not be able to kill his right arm in time in order to not cause it to do explosion, which would do 250 damage, which would kill me. So I had to get Tella up. Okay, fine, whatever. And by the way, for anyone who's asking, the reason I don't kill the right arm is literally the next action after you kill both arms is to resurrect both arms. So you want to kill one of the arms to minimize what damage you're taking, and the left arm will paralyze you, whereas the right arm will poison you. I'll take the poison. Oh, goodness. Now this fight went extremely smoothly once I had Tella alive. And the irony of the situation is that Tella doesn't even take any damage because Tella is at critical, and Cecil has an ability called protect or something like that, which means he takes the blows for people who are at critical damage. So I don't even need to heal Tella. He can just sit there burning his mana, keeping Cecil alive. It's great. And there goes Bagan. Tella gets his last cure off on Cecil. Cecil gets one more action. However, it doesn't matter because the explode actually goes off on Tella. Yay! Alright. And here's where I am now, guys. Well, okay, not yet. I'm sorry. I had to go get a couple items because, as I mentioned, I was completely out of cures and ethers. I actually intentionally left these items for this part of the game, assuming I would need them. I wasn't actually 100% sure, but it was a nice ace in the hole kind of thing. Ether, cure 2, ether, cure 2. Quickly use them. Remove that, and we're done. You're about to see my failure, Javin. Shut up. This is also coming with an opinion question, though, because I'm at an impasse. I'm at a point where I have reached my limit. I do not know anything else I can do to make this run happen, with one exception. And I'm debating if I want to do it or not. If I do, I need to restructure the run from this part on, which I can do. It's going to involve more planning, of course, because, you know, that's what tasks involve, is planning. So here we are, Kenazo. The Drowned King, if you're playing the advanced or DS versions. Awesome music. Hang on, awesome music. Anyways, this is Kenazo Phase 1. It's actually really boring. Honestly, I don't think I even needed to heal the very first phase at all. Especially at this level. Level 30, 1300 HP. Haven't even dropped below 4 digits yet. I'm fine. All he does, and you can see his AI pattern very clearly. Gathers the water, hastes himself, wave. Gather, haste, wave. That's all he does, just in a loop. Very predictable. Unfortunately, one of the little caveats of a lot of the boss battles, especially the Four Fiends fights, is they use a type of counter mechanism that I'm actually not going to explain in detail because it would take some time and I'm sure you guys don't actually care, in order to determine their RNG. What I mean by that is, you see that 340 hit I just did? Actually, you probably don't, but I just hit for 340. No matter how I tried to manipulate the input of the RNG, it doesn't matter because it's counter-based, so that hit is always going to be that number. That hit's always going to be 300, etc., etc. That's because I have only a single character. If I had the whole party up, it would be different. He just keeps hasting himself over and over and over. Like I said, really boring. I haven't even healed yet. I think I'm going to heal either this turn or the next one. Yep, there we go. That was a good example of exactly how quickly you can input commands in the fight system in FF4, which is pretty quick. Back over the 4 digits, ready to go for Phase 2. Now this is only going to play for a little bit here because I realized the problem very quickly. And I did what I call a long-run test. Here we go, Phase 2. Hides in his shell, defense spikes up. The very first thing he does is heal himself for 400. I hit him for 232. Yes, I know, you're in your damn shell. Again, counter-based. Heals himself for 400. Now, I'm not going to do the actual math right now for you. I actually had a chart at one point, but I'm already something like 150 HP down. That is to say, he has healed more than I have done damage to him. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be able to catch him on the oscillation of cycles, because his turns and my turns are not matched. So I do, okay, 272, I'm back ahead. I have managed to get back ahead. And then Remedy, 400. Now I'm down by like 250. Down by 100. And I think you get the point here. The point is that this fight is actually literally mathematically impossible without either the level of manipulation I cannot do, or my one alternative. And there's movie end, because after this, here, I'll even show you. I'm going to go fast forward and auto A. Now, you can't tell, because I'm doing this very quickly, obviously, but I am just slowly losing this fight. In fact, he's already back to Phase 1 mechanics. I don't know if you saw that there. And gone. Dead. The end. I failed. Now, you could probably say, well, you could have healed during that. Yes, you're absolutely right. And just prolonged the inevitable, because after, what was it, 10 cycles of his AI script ran, he was back at full health. So I'm left with a question. I have an alternate method to continue doing this task. My question to you guys, those of you who are in the stream right now in the live chat, is should I? Let's go ahead and pause that music so I can think properly. The alternate method I have, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this. I can think of several ways, but it's really simple. Because, well, let me actually backtrack just a little bit first. That's Kainazo fight, right? The second elemental fiend. There are a grand total of 7 other bosses throughout FF4 that Cecil is going to have a monumentally difficult time soloing because of mechanics like that. Valvolus is another excellent example, so is Rubicant, so is Dr. Luge in the Tower of Babel, etc., etc., etc. There are several examples of this, where my option is going to be grinding for a ridiculous amount of time to push Cecil's levels up into like the 80s in order to be able to defeat the game at all. Or, on certain bosses where it is appropriate for certain reasons, Tella in this case, what I do is I bring one of the other characters back for one fight, basically. Now, I shouldn't say that, but the point is to bring them back for a fight. I can do that in one of two ways. One of the reasons I set up multiple saves as I was watching this is we got this save, this save right here, which is before even entering the thing. What I could do here, whoops, not what I meant to do. We set them up here, make it so that Cecil and Tella both survive the trip through the cave, and that way Tella gets the extra HP in order to help him survive a little bit, and Cecil gets, well, actually, now that I'm actually thinking about it, I wouldn't do that, but whatever. The point being, I get to Kainazo, I res Tella, Tella kills him in 2 hits, and in case you're wondering why Tella kills him in 2 hits, this spell right here is why. You can only cast it 3 times total, too. But yeah, Tella kills him in 2 hits, that's the end of the fight, and then I go back to Cecil soloing for a while, until I get to Valvolus, in which case I would bring back someone else, and so forth and so on. Now, the reason I am so torn on this is basically a betrayal of what the challenge was originally supposed to be, the solo Cecil challenge. And it was my belief that I would be able to accomplish it without ludicrousness, and I was wrong. I have no problem admitting my mistakes. The question is, do I simply give up? Or do I try something new? Do I try a different method of continuing this and don't actually abandon this? I noticed no one said anything yet. I am asking you guys a question. I mean, you can feel free to ignore me if you really want to. Where is it? And if no one answers me, I'll just push this up to YouTube. See what the commenters say. I mean, I'm going to push this up to YouTube anyways. Duh. I have no idea what you mean, Jovan. I literally don't. You're speaking Greek to me, man. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. I was just going to talk about one last thing in brief while you guys type there. I don't know if you can even see this. The re-record count is just kind of a thing on top. Zeiss, you are useless. The re-record count is how many times you reload a state. And every time you reload, it's like I was just showing you, okay, hang on, let's go back and retry this. Let's go back and make this particular sequence more optimized. I only had a re-record count of something like 4,000 on my Chrono Trigger run, which I'm actually rather proud of. But there's actually no shame in having a high re-record count. It's basically something that's there just kind of as an FYI for anybody who's curious. How many times did you have to reload on this one? And this is my Chrono Trigger movie. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's 7 hours long, but you can see there 1.5 million frames. 7 hours and 21 minutes, I believe, counting the ending. I'll talk about this one later, of course. Just kind of felt like having something going here. So Rory has nothing to say. I guess that shouldn't surprise me. I thought about that, Council. The real trick with that is that would not remove the principal problem, which is the grind. In order to do that, for example, let's say 4,000 something? Hang on a second. 4,132. In order to use Tella, for example, for the next chunk of the game, what I would have to do is take Tella, who is level 21, who has not budged an inch since I picked him up, literally has gotten 0 XP in the whole game, and grind and level with him. And that would be very painful and very slow at level 21 against the enemies I'm at right now, which are the only ones that give the proper amount of exp. It's the uphill battle concept. After a certain point, he'd be fine, but, you know, if I were then to go later in the game and pick up Sid, and say, okay, I am now going to solo challenge this with Sid, who is level nothing, and blah blah blah. And no, I am not Coca-Cola. That is the crux of the dilemma here. I actually already did the math. If I wanted to go ahead and push through with just Cecil, I have to be level 39 in order to have the stats necessary. That's also a stat optimization on leveling, which I do know how to do because I could do that on the SNES. It's easy to do on an emulator with task timing. But if I optimize my stats, I have to be level 39 in order to defeat Keinazo by myself. That will take roughly an additional 45 minutes. This is calculated, of course, of real time. Of real time in order to do. I'm sorry, I have to explain that really quick. Real time refers to what you're watching right now. This is real time. Every second that's passing right now is real time. There is TASing time, which is the time it takes to actually make the task, which, as you might imagine, is much higher than real time. That sequence you just saw in about 20 seconds took me more like, I think it was like 17 minutes or something like that. That's not a joke. But anyways, 45 minutes of real-time advancement in order to get to the level I would need to beat Keinazo, and then I have to face the other 7 bosses I mentioned earlier, which I'm not 100% sure I would be able to do without further grinding. So the answer is no. I would rather give up or break the challenge and make a new one than do that. That's insane. It's going back to my original thing I started this whole thing with when I was showing you that Boy and His Blob thing. That's not entertaining at that point. There is no entertainment. There is no enjoyment to be had for me making it, and for people watching it to just see me mindlessly run around in a circle killing trash. In some tasks, there is some level of grind that is necessary, and it's considered a necessary evil. This is true for speedruns as well. But that level, and that sheer monumental amount of grind, is absolutely unacceptable. Oh, goodness. I can't wait to talk about this task. I have to really have like 3 things of water with me and tons of rest when I talk about this task. Because, well, okay. I told you one person had seen the first hour of this task. I talked non-stop for that entire hour because the task was moving faster than I could talk. There was so much to explain about what I was doing, to comment on, that the game was getting ahead of me. And so I'm like, okay, and blah, 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 blah. And that's what that's what you just saw like 5 minutes ago, and now what you're seeing, blah, 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 you know, just desperately trying to catch up to myself. I'm actually kind of nervous Although I'm looking forward to trying to keep up with myself when I commentate on this game. Anyways. Well, I can appreciate that sentiment. The whole point is for me to have fun and for you guys to have fun, for my viewers and for the creator to both look at this and say, yeah, it was awesome. Like this one, like the Zelda one. Oh, excuse me. Speaking of the Zelda one, let's preview that one a bit. Let's close this out. One moment, closing things, you don't see things. Alright, where is the Zelda Tas? Zelda Tas I am extremely pleased with. This was actually the first test I ever worked on. Ever. Zeiss, I want to explain everything. Screw you. If you don't want to hear it, go watch someone else. You can't see my expression, of course, but I'm laughing here. That should sound familiar. I can, Jevon. In fact, actually, if you'll give me one moment, let's pause. Remove this again, because I gotta pull up something. Give me just a moment. Because I do have rough notes for every boss in the game. That's why I know there's 7 bosses. There's this point where I need to kill... I absolutely have to kill the Wyvern. For those of you who remember him, he is the super optional who drops... Oh, excuse me. The Crystal Sword. Or the Ragnarok, depending on which version you're playing. In the Lunar Subterrane. I have to kill him. Which is actually quite difficult. So, get him down. Walk into the actual crystalline area, that is the actual last boss, and then grind some more, and then get to Zeramis. My estimated level for being able to beat Zeramis solo with Cecil is 95. His Big Bang will do 1500 to 2000. He will do Bio regularly, he'll do Flare regularly, and I need a bare minimum of 13 elixirs in order to do that. So, I believe the term is enough said. Where is it? Twitch chat back up. And the preview of the Zelda Tas. Stretch out. But in serious, Zeiss, if you don't want to watch my tasks, that's fine. I understand that most people aren't into this sort of thing. I know full well that there's an audience for people who enjoy the comments and enjoy the explanations. I know that because that I've seen them, that they exist. There are people who stream and who do marathons and just sit there explaining what they're doing the whole time and get tons of viewership, and more importantly, because I enjoy that sort of thing. So screw you. No, I'm serious though. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. The Zelda Tas will ironically have less to explain in it. Although Zeldas are beautiful games to both speedrun and TAS. If there are any games that you guys will see me speedrunning and TASing, you will see me doing Zelda games, because I love speedrunning Zelda games. They are such a fun challenge to do. You don't even have to have a challenge to it. You don't even have to add necessarily a challenge. Obviously, I like to. But Zelda games, by their nature, are a little bit more sandboxy than most people tend to think. Or at least I should say most casual players tend to think. You can do Zelda games in so many different orders just by being creative about what you do and how you do it, using certain creative mechanics, that kind of thing. And so, all of a sudden, yes, I always name my Link Ganon. It's a really old tradition, dating back all the way to the very first Legend of Zelda. I have always named my Link Ganon. I've gotten some complaints about that in the past, actually. Anyways. But any Zelda game, the route you take, it's not like there is an optimal route, you know what I mean? It's not like there is one specific path that is the best, with a couple of exceptions, obviously. It's just the path that you happen to choose and trying to optimize it as much as you can. There are so many different ways to go through a Zelda game. So FYI, you're probably going to see me doing some speedrunning of Zeldas in the future. And some, and this task that you're watching right now. Although hopefully at that point in time I'll be showing it at actually 60 FPS. So you'll be able to see this with a little less chop. And little things like this. Getting the key on the very last frame as you exit the door. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like I said, the primary goal for me for a TAS is to be entertaining. And I like to pull off cool stuff like that, just to try and show off. Like, okay, well, I could just grab the key, or I could fling the boomerang at the key and get it at the very last second. Actually, the very last frame. Destroy that guy, destroy that guy. That's right. The mini-boss is nothing but a pot to me. I'm actually really pleased with this TAS. And, I'm looking forward to showing you guys it as well. Let's skip ahead a bit. No, skipping ahead. There's a bunch of stories here, but we're skipping ahead. First boss is dead. Second boss is about to be dead. Second boss is dead. That's another trick I like to use, the backwards walking or the sideways walking. You can only really do it on an emulator because it requires having multiple or multiple inputs on the same frame, which isn't actually possible with a SNES controller. You can pull off some amusing little tricks with it too, but it's mainly for show, just to be like whoa, whoa, walking backwards through stuff, that kind of a thing. And then all of a sudden, yeah, we're zooming ahead again. We're in this dungeon. I love the smoothness of it. I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard not to commentate on what I'm doing and why. Especially since there's something really important that's going on in this dungeon that I can't actually tell you about without really going into this. Yes, it's Ganon, Zeiss. Pay attention. Ganon's the man now. Link is old news. I love little tricks like that, too. There's a single pixel where you can actually walk on the edge of those platforms without sinking in. 5. 11. Don't mind me. And there's the red. Boom, 93. You don't know what that 93 means, admittedly. But that meant a lot to me. I almost quit this run because of that 93, or rather the lack thereof. Alright guys, remember Moldorm? Anyone have trouble with this boss back in the day? I'm just curious. Sorry, I'm not bragging. I freely admit that I had trouble with Moldorm back in the day. I would jump the gun and hit him, and then go flying into the pit and have to start all over again. It's one of the reasons it's so satisfying to stomp him so hard. Just crush him. It is Zeiss. If you have not played Link to the Past, this is a genuine recommendation. I recommend you find a copy of it, play it. It's on the Game Boy Advance, it's on the Nintendo Store, it's on the SNES. This is an amazing game, and it hasn't stopped being amazing. Age has not dulled its luster. And yeah, Githenic? I'm not sure how to say that. 93 rupees. Because I know for a fact that I can get the other 17 in the remainder of the section. But I needed to get to the 93 mark because you need 110 rupees in order to talk to the monkey just before the first dungeon in the Dark World. If you don't have those 110 rupees, tough. You know, there is no way around that. And so because I'm not using RNG manipulation, because I'm not using Lua scripting, because I'm not using RAM checking, I wasn't manipulating the drops of rupees that enemies would drop. And so I was in a constant state of panic the entire run up until I got that last red rupee about getting enough rupees in order to be able to defeat the monkey, because if I got to the point... actually, it was about... There we go, there's 5. I told you I could get 5 right there. Or rather, I knew I could get 17. That's 5 of them. There's 2. Puts it up to 100. Anyways. Point being, if I didn't have those rupees as of this point that we're staring at right now, I would have to go and do a significant detour, which is 45 seconds out of the way. That may not sound like a lot, but in a speedrun and in a TAS, even a TAS that isn't necessarily being done for speed, 45 seconds just going off to pick up some rupees is huge and bothersome. And crass. You know, I really did not want to have to do that, so I was really happy that that red rupee dropped and those other rupees dropped. There's 5. I love this game. Just watching this makes me want to play it again. And this is me playing it. Match. I love backtracking in darkness, too. It's actually harder to pull off when you're actually doing it than it sounds. Because you have to know where you're going, and what's there, and what's moving how, and so forth and so on. And there it is. 110 rupees. And that's kind of what I meant about the whole Zelda thing in general. Every Zelda game is like that. You can plan out a whole route, and it all comes down to knowing what drops from where and how, what enemies you can use to what extent, what order you have to do things in, all that sort of thing, you know? It's one of the reasons I love speedrunning and TASing Zelda games so much. That, and it looks really cool when you pull it off. Anybody who's watched an Ocarina of Time TAS can probably attest to what I'm talking about. Oh, I agree, Javin. If I, whoops. And then I got 2 more rupees. Those were a complete accident, in all honesty. And those almost ruined my run, for reasons I'll get into later, when I actually do real commentary about this. Metroidvanias, though, are fantastically fun to TAS. Super Metroid is probably my personal favorite of that. I have never done a serious, completed TAS of Super Metroid. The reason for that is the challenge I selected for myself is psychotically insane, I think is a good way to put that. For those of you who are aware of the challenge, it is reverse boss order, where the very first boss you kill is Ridley in Norfair. And the last boss you kill is Kraid in Brinstar. Now, I love saying that because I can always tell where someone's at with Metroids in general, because they either have one of 2 reactions. 1, are you insane? How the hell do you even do that? Or 2, oh yeah, that's really hard. Because it's actually a fairly well-known challenge. I got so bored on this fight, I ran out of things to do. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna be over here egging him. Don't mind me. Just gonna drawing patterns on the floor. Alright, now it's just gonna stand here. Oh, hey, what's up? Oh my god, lightning! Hang on. Hang on. Ah! Oh, he almost got me in the back there. That was so close, guys. Sorry. Yes, I've been saying Ridley for years. I'm gonna keep saying Ridley for years. I know somewhere they've pronounced it as Ridley. I don't care. It'll always be Ridley to me. Actually, Coca-Cola, one of the things I added as a challenge to this run is I defeated the second fight of Aghanim with the, excuse me, with the net. Solo, or just with the net, with nothing else. It was actually widely requested by all my friends who knew I was working on this. I was like, okay, guys. At the second Aghanim fight, it will cost me roughly 20 seconds to fight him with the net. But I'll beat the second-to-last boss with a butterfly net. And everyone was like, do it! Oh my god, that would be awesome! The reason it cost me that much time, by the way, is the time necessary to get the net. That's actually the trick. The fight itself isn't slowed like by more than, I think, 100 frames. Which is a decent amount, but it's not significant when you're counting a run that's an hour or something. At least not by my reckoning. Here we are in the Dark World with one of the most awesome songs in the universe. We're going to turn this up a bit. I absolutely adore this song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. There's that damn monkey. Here's your 10 rupees, monkey. Frickin' monkey. Hate that monkey. And here's your 100 rupees. God, I love this song. It's been remixed many times, but this is the first right here. LTTP, SNES. This is the first time this song was ever played. It is awesome. Now this dungeon I'm actually going to let play for a bit, because I've talked before. I've kind of given across the impression, you know, I'm more into entertainment. I don't like to break the game too badly. You know, speed isn't that important to me. Blah 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 blah. Right? All that stuff I've been talking about basically this whole time. One of the things, it's very much a gray area, and I tend to think of it as a case-by-case basis, if that makes any sense. Literally, in this specific instance of glitching or breaking the game, do I consider it to be acceptable to do so? I love confusing the hell out of regular Zelda players by that move I just did. I've had several people say, why in the world did that person... Did you just fling the bomb up there to that area? That's... You can't even get... You have to come there from the other side anyways. I'll just let that percolate in the back of your mind there. I'm all for OC remixes. I actually was a part of the OC remix community way back when it first started, and when it was going under a different name, and then when it became OC Remix. But I'm with it. It's not like we're... well, okay, I shouldn't say that. Most of the people I knew were not trying to take credit. We're not trying to be like, you know, oh, well, you know, I did this song and I am awesome for it. It was more like people who were trying to share in their enthusiasm. And if you guys know me at all, you know that enthusiasm and the sharing thereof is a huge deal for me, especially when you go through walls. God, I love that trick. That's one of the things I was building up to with my little speech earlier about, is this worth glitching the heck out of the game? Is it worth breaking the game in this instance in order to be more entertaining? I felt that was entertaining personally. Maybe that's just me. But if you didn't like that, then I sure hope you like this, because this took me 2 hours. I'm not kidding. This maneuver right here took 2 hours of TASing time, of me sitting here in front of the computer, slowly inching through at a frame at a time, and then failing. And then trying something else, then failing. Just over and over and over. I thought that was worth it, personally. And I'd also, for anybody who knows this game, I basically just skipped about 2/3 of the dungeon. Go and get some more arrows, because I need some more. And by the way, no, that's not what I meant, Javin. I'm not trying to be all hipster or whatever the term is. It was just, I was a part of OC Remix a long time ago. The only reason I stopped being a part of OC Remix is because I didn't think my music was good enough for them, to be completely frank. And so I ended up just kept doing my own thing on my own. It's kind of a shame. When I first did my very first... Shut up, Coco. When I did my very first edition of this, which was a completely different run... Oh yeah, and then a red rupee drops. What the heck? God, that bothered me. I did a completely different mindset for the entire run, which was literally never use the sword. There's actually a way to do it. You can actually skip the uncle at the beginning and literally not pick up the sword. And this is just me being cute, because I felt like showing off. Anyways, I never used the sword literally in the entire game, except for, I believe, 3 instances when you literally have to, when there's no other way around it. The problem with that was it was really boring, to be completely honest. Like, for example, the first boss in the very first dungeon... Or, I'm sorry, no, the second boss. No. Who am I thinking of? One of the bosses you can defeat with the boomerang. It's like the only thing he's weak to other than the sword. I can't remember which it is. And you just boomerang him to death. Except the boomerang does 1 damage, whereas the sword does 8, so you can imagine just how ridiculously long that fight drove on. And it certainly looked cool for the first, 30 seconds, but by about the 3-minute point, it's like, okay, why are you still fighting this boss? Ganon, the boss of thieves, wished it. The world was transformed. I'm sure he's intending to conquer our light world after building his power here. He's trying to open an even larger gate between the worlds near the castle using our powers, but the gate is not open completely yet. If we 7 maidens come together, we can break the barrier around Ganon's hiding place. I will tell you where the other girls are held. I believe you will destroy Ganon. I will return to my original form at that time. Do you understand? Of course he does, he's Link. Now I'm going to show you like one other thing here, just to show off a bit. Those of you who know that there's a particular order you're supposed to do the dungeons in Link to the Past, in any Zelda, actually. But as I mentioned earlier, there's certain tricks. We're going to skip ahead just a bit. Whoop, wrong button. There's certain tricks you can do to not do things in a particular order. So, I am not going to Dungeon 2, as you can tell, because I've already bypassed it. I will give a cookie to anyone who can guess what dungeon I'm going to second. I'm going to give you like 20 more seconds to guess it. Alright, we got one guess there. Precision teleporting. Alright, we gotta guess for 4, we gotta guess for 5. Ashia has a guess for 6, which I'll tell you right now is actually incorrect. There is no Dungeon 69. Hey Expo, what's up? Let me make ace. This is where that 20 seconds came in, I mentioned. I get a bottle here. I never use that bottle. Ever. There's no reason to get it, with one exception. If you don't have the bottle, you can't get the butterfly net. Or if you don't have a bottle, I mean. And the fact that the bottle's right there and the butterfly net is right there, it was really a no-brainer as to which bottle to get the butterfly net. And Shazam! Awesome song! I'd do my It's Alive Frankenstein impression, but I don't think my throat's up for it, to be honest with you. I'll do it when I actually stream this. Later, Ash. It's funny watching this and remembering making it, and just how tricky some screens, which only last 3 seconds, really were, in order to make work. Because one of my challenges for this for myself was to never take a single point of damage ever in the entire run. And I never do. So, at this point, it's probably pretty obvious which dungeon I'm hitting next. I remember one of my friends was like, "Why are you going here next? What is wrong with you? Why aren't you going to get the hook shot?" I'm like, "I don't need the hook shot." "What are you talking about? The hook shot's awesome." "Well, yeah. But, you know, I don't really need it. I mean, yeah, it's just kind of there." This is another dungeon that I skip about 2/3 of, by the way, just from very careful planning and routing. That's kind of the nature of the dungeon itself, though. If you know this place, even if you're just playing it regularly, if you know where you're going and whatnot, you don't really need to do most of this place. This is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for the SNES, original version. I am not a hipster. I have never been a hipster. I will never be a hipster. And you know why? Because I actually enjoy things. Moving on. Get the key. Back down. Hated this room. Hated this room. Hated this room. God, I hated this whole frickin' dungeon. Gah, finally. Although I get to pull off some cool stuff, too. Link is simply too... I'm sorry, Ganon is simply too fast to be caught by their mortal traps. Hated this room. I could literally commentate half this game by saying, "This room sucked. I hated doing this room. I nearly died like 7 times in this room. I had to redo this room about 20 times. I liked that room. That room was easy. By the way, there's I'm going to stop after this dungeon, but I do want you to see this boss fight, because I want to explain something too. I mentioned it, alluded to it earlier. And I guess I'll start explaining now, because the boss fight's going to be like 10 seconds long. As I mentioned earlier, even with TAS timing, even with save states, some things are just flat impossible. You cannot destroy... You can only break the game so far, right? That's just how it is. There's nothing else for it. So, on this boss, Blind, for those of you who do not remember, he has a specific thing to him. Every time you hit him, he does this bounce back attack, or the bounce back effect is actually a better way to put it. Just like the jellyfish-looking things do. You know, you hit him and you go flying back like 10 feet or something like that. Blind has that exact same mechanic to him. That's really important, because... Well, as you'll see in a moment, this fight is actually kind of crazy. This is what most people consider this to be one of the hardest fights in the game when you're playing it legitimately. And you can see it every time I'm hitting him, I'm getting flung back. Now, you see how much stuff is flying around the screen, right? Multiple bullets, multiple heads. There's another head now, we got 3 heads, all 3 are shooting, and I'm getting knocked all over the place. I had to redo this battle, I don't remember how many times, at least 80 times, that's not a joke, in order to get through here without getting hit, which, as I mentioned, was one of my challenge goals. Because every time I would hit him, I would get knocked back so hard and so far, I would basically lose control of Ganon for like 80 frames, something like that, which is a huge period of time. And then I'd get hit by something, because I'm just standing there completely unable to move as everything in the universe is coming to kill me. Ganon, because of you, I can escape the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you. And then suddenly... the next dungeon, and then he wins. And then... he gets the flippers for some reason. Then he does Dungeon 6. And then he does Dungeon 5, I think? Or is this 3? I don't actually remember. Whatever. Then I go back and do Dungeon 2 last. Well, okay, I do Dungeon 7 last, but that's because that... duh. And then we do Ganon's Tower. I was actually really proud of Ganon's Tower. When I very first started working on TASing, I decided I wanted to do a proof of concept to prove that I could do it. And so I played Link to the Past on my emulator all the way up to Ganon's Tower, saved, and then started recording. And that's Ganon's Tower is where I learned how to TAS. Now, for those of you who understand this game and know this game, you probably understand just how psychotic that was of me, and probably a little bit confident or overconfident of me. But that is where I learned to TAS, was on the last frickin' dungeon. And it worked really well. I'd like to think so. You know, I'd like to think that I didn't suck horribly at it. You got the big key. Let's get out of here. Wait, we need more arrows. There we go. Skip ahead a little bit more. Lots of trickiness. This room, that dash is insane to time. That was a frame timing dash. It doesn't look like it, but trust me, it was. I liked these rooms, though. A lot of fun doing these rooms. Ultimately, these felt like playgrounds to me. It was just, okay, I want to see how quickly and efficiently I can destroy every enemy in this room. And the goal was like 5 seconds under for each room, and I'm pretty sure I made that. Like, that one was 4 seconds because of the delay. And I think this one's going to be 5 seconds flat. Yep. And then shunk. Thank you, Andre, from NSK. Andre? Am I saying that right? Oh, that sucks, Ice. And that boss. Oh, no, hang on. I gotta get like one more hit on him and him. And I win. Out. I love this game. I really do. Anybody who hasn't played Link to the Past should at least at one point in their life make a point of doing so. Because this game is so much fun. It's actually my second favorite Zelda of all time, too. And I've gone on record before as saying that there has never been a bad Zelda since the CDI games never existed. That's saying something for a series that has never been bad. Oh, hey, check it out. Some people like to walk over pits, or walk around pits. I just like to hover over them. Twilight Princess is my favorite. In all honesty, X-Bob, they're all basically identical. As strange as that sounds, there's never been a proper remake of Link to the Past. So, any version you can get a hold of doesn't matter. And hi, Snow. Nice to see you again. Now, I want you to pay attention to something, because I'll talk about this when I properly stream this. But you'll notice the totals in the top. 111 rupees, 0 bombs, 0 arrows, and now 0 keys. And by the way, I didn't feel like fighting Moldorm again, so I just decided to keep going. Bye, Moldorm. I'll see you later, okay? Anyways, so I really worked hard. Really hard. It's actually stupid how much effort I put into making sure that when I got to the end of the game, I had 111 rupees, 0 bombs, 0 arrows, and 0 keys. You'll notice I have the net equipped. Alright. Bring it on, Agadim. I got a net, and all you got is Magic Doom. Shazam! And the funny thing about the net, if you saw that, I don't know if the stream is high enough quality to show it, you can usually hit him more than once per cycle, depending on where their balls are aimed at. Like that right there. Good example. Just hit him twice with one of his clones hits and one of his. And he's dead. Goodbye. Owned by a net. What is this sorcery? Get back here! Get back! Awesome scene! Now, I'm not going to say anything at first. I'm curious how many people know that this trick exists. But you're about to see Ganon versus Ganon, and I have a feeling Ganon's going to win. And he's going to stomp the crud out of Ganon. Most people know you can get that first hit on him, like I just did there. Oh, I know what you mean, Coco. Or Coca-Cola. I don't know what to shorten your name to. Now, funny fact, I'm actually hitting him just for fun at this point. His HP doesn't move while he's in the swirly phase. It's only in the in-between thing, and if you get him to swirl again, it doesn't matter, because his HP isn't moving again. So I'm just playing around. Oh no, there's fire bats, and they're everywhere. No! Alright, you ready for me to completely destroy Ganon? I love this trick. I've actually pulled this off on the SNES to my great pride. It's very rare that I can say I've pulled off tricks like this in real time. So, gotta wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There. Perfect. You'll notice I have no arrows, by the way. You'll also notice the right torch isn't going out. And you can only hit him after he has started teleporting. Right there. Like, he shows up, he shows his thing, and then you hit him. And you can only hit him with the charged spin attack. Believe it or not, this is actually much quicker than the bow method. I know it doesn't really seem like it, but... Boom! Dead invisible Ganon. Because I rock. Right torch is still lit. I love that trick. And... the Triforce. What's up? Fun fact. In all the Zeldas, of which there have been, 13, I think? I don't remember the exact number. They've been in the teens now of Zelda games, not counting the CDIs. This is the only time ever that the Triforce actually speaks to you, or speaks in general, for that matter. This is the only one. This is also one of the very, very few where someone actually gets the Triforce who is not named Ganon or Ganondorf. Oh, goodness. So anyways, like I said, yeah, I know way too much about everything, especially video games. There's a reason I am such a geek. Ah. Oh, goodness. But, the audio cut out? Strange. Looks fine on my end. Anybody else have any audio issue? Can you still hear me? I guess that's a better question. Okay, apparently people can still hear me. That's good. Ganon Dwarf. Just call me the victorious Ganon. The other Ganon can be the dead while he was invisible Ganon, who I destroyed without even using the light arrows. Oh, and by the way, that's why killing him without the arrows is quicker, primarily. It takes something like 33 seconds, I think, in order to go and pick up the light arrows. And you also have to plan for it. You have to have exactly enough arrows ready for the fight in order to kill him. Or you could just kill him while he's teleporting by making sure that the torches never go out. You know, it's really up to you. A live stream of FF6. I don't know, man. I mean, FF6 is the greatest game I've ever made. I don't know if you're aware of that fact. You're probably not. You probably like FF6? God. Hate that game. Where is it? Oh, I'm in the wrong one, that's why. Hang on. That wasn't me shutting everything down, that was just me shutting that down. Alright. Yes, I actually do keep multiple copies of emulators for specific games, and there's a lot of reasons for that, actually, which I will not bore you with now. Yes, you did. That is exactly what you just read. Long ago, the War of the Magi reduced the world to a scorched wasteland, and magic simply ceased to exist. "1,000 years have passed. Iron, gunpowder, and steam engines have been rediscovered, and high technology reigns. But there are always some who would enslave the world by reviving the dread destructive force known as magic. And pause. I just feel like sharing this. I actually know quite a few people who missed this. You see that guy on the right there? That is the first major character, NPC or player, that you see in the entire game. Kefka, right there, the main villain, right off the bat. I love that. Just this dinky little thing. I love this game. It's making me grin just watching this. Can it be that those in power are on the verge of repeating a senseless and deadly mistake? Speaking of details, I love if I ever do a stream of this, that's what I want to do, is I want to point out details. Look in the background, in the lower left, for example, is a good example, or in the right, mid-right. You can actually see that there are buildings back there, mining buildings, and there's like a little track for where the mining cart goes. It's incredible the amount of detail they put in this game. I'm just holding down Auto-A here. Yeah, that was Kefka, the villain, the main bad guy. One other thing, back when this first came out, a lot of people, myself included, have what I call roaming A syndrome, where you just mash the A button, right? Especially on the SNES. Those of you from the PlayStation era would probably know it as roaming X syndrome, because, you know, same basic equivalent. You just mash the button, mash the button, mash the button. So if you don't push anything, this happens. And this whole little intro plays, and they actually show the credits towards the beginning of the scene, because this is Final Fantasy VI, and the credits need to be right here in front and center, so you understand just who killed themselves to make this amazing game, damn it. And this song is only played for this section, not played for any other part of the game. As the music fades out, we actually see the town of Narsh nestled into the mountains in the distance. God, I love that intro. I agree, Rory, by the way, about the logo things. Give me something awesome to look at if you're going to make me look at it. Let's do some basic, whoops. Right. No. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the controls, because they're slightly different from FF4, which is what I've been playing lately. Fun fact, battle speed only affects your speed. As in, if you set it to fast, it's actually really complicated, but the point being, the slower you put it, the easier it is, the more turns you get per enemy turns. Most people don't know that. Memory, set that on single, attack healing. What do you guys think? Should we go with blue, gunmetal gray, oceanic, sunset, I guess, sandstone, awesome gray, forest, or chocobo? Please don't pick chocobo. Chocobo is so hard to see on. Whoops. Awesome gray it is. One of the things I also loved, I freely admit my geekery here, I used to spend so much time messing with these options right here. Let's go 12, alright? Actually, no. Let's do... Is this the one I need? Yes, so... Shoot, I guess that'd be 13. 19. That's a little bit too blue. Let's see what we get here. That's gonna be 23. This one's gonna be 20 as well. Whoops. I just love the sheer... I'm sorry, I just love the sheer customizability. This is all I'm trying to demonstrate here, is the fact that I could turn Gunmetal Gray into any color combination that is a combination of RGB that I want. But we'll go ahead and go back to this gray. So I don't feel like dealing with that. There's something I need to do here. I'm trying to remember what it is. Ah, well, screw it. Now, here's another fun fact about this game. Their FF6, along with multiple... You didn't know that, Rory? Yeah, you can make just about any color combination you can think of. One of my favorite things to do, actually, was to take this and turn this into a really light shade of blue foliage instead, which gives it this nice sea-based tone. It's really awesome. At least I think it is. Triggers are tile-based. This is a tile game. So... Whoops. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know. Shut up. So, tile. Actually, you can't see me doing it. Let's just go up here. Tile to the left. Tile. You see what I'm talking about with tiles here. I'm just describing visually because it's the easiest way to do it. Thus, virtually every trigger in the entire game is on tiles, and you can skip quite a few of them. Most people don't know there even are certain titles. Like, for example, if you go over here, this guy shows up out of nowhere and sends his dog after you. And then we show him the folly... what? Of, oh, right. Why? There we go. Don't worry, the Lobo's fine for now. Speed this up a bit. Oh, I get you, Rory. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The only other game that had that level of customization for this menu was FF7. Whoops. You can tell I sort of have a pattern for playing this game nowadays. Even when I'm not doing a challenge, even when I'm just sitting here playing it. It's like, yep, first thing to do, burn all my mana killing Biggs and Wedge. Goodbye. In case anybody's wondering why I do that, they soak up internet. Damn it, I need to not read chat while I'm doing this. Actually, let's just put this on BioBlast for now. They soak up experience, and when I say soak, I'm referring to experience that is basically burnt. It goes out into the air and never comes back. So this way, Terra gets all the experience. By the way, spoiler alert, this is Terra! And, she actually goes up a single... she goes up one level higher than she would otherwise, which is extremely useful for many different things. But there is admittedly another reason why I tend to kill off Biggs and Wedge. And I'll explain that in just a minute. There's that first level, very early. Now, some people don't know this too. You can, like I said, tile-based, so I can just walk right by that battle. But heck with that, we gotta show these guys the folly of fighting the Empire. And BioBlast is so overpowered for this section of the game. Just literally, I could just auto-A this whole section. I'm holding down auto-A right now. I'm not hitting any other input whatsoever. I know you can't see it, but I am. Just auto-A. Goodbye. But I like this. This is not a complaint. I love the way they do this. I love it when story and gameplay are so integrated. Yeah, exactly, Javin. I love it when they integrate gameplay and story like this, because you're right, you are supposed to be the elite Magitech Knights of Doom compared to the fighting militia of a mining town. You should be stomping the crap out of them. And I am. And they even give you a scale for it, because that 400 damage I just did, I won't be doing that till I'm about level 16, give or take. I should probably heal. I'm not gonna heal, though. Screw healing! YOLO strats. I really should actually heal. There's that second level I mentioned. Do a safety save. I should have just enough left for... Yep. One cure. Perfectly timed. Or perfectly balanced, whatever. That's where it should be, is what my point is. And you can't actually skip most of the rest of these fights. So we'll just go ahead and be like, hey... Bring it on. Up, up! They brought some monsters this time. Now, one interesting thing about the code of FF6, which you'll never see me do, I mentioned that whole memory reading thing way back. The ATB bars in the lower right of, you know, whose turn happens next, there's that final level. Learned Ant Dot very early off. The ATB bars for the players, there are also ATB bars for all of the enemies. You don't see them, but they exist and they have the exact same functionality to them. If you choose an action at a specific point in which... hang on, 1, 2, 3... That didn't work. I used to be really good at that. We'll do this then. If you choose an action at a very specific point in their ATB, you actually override their action. And they don't get to move. And thus, if you're watching a TAS, a real TAS, you know, not one of mine, of Final Fantasy VI, you will usually see boss battles where the boss never does anything, it just stands there while you kill it, because he's constantly overriding his action bar. And now, the greatest boss ever. Welk! This is the other reason I kill off Vix and Wedge. It's just so funny to watch them suddenly leap up like, oh my god, hold it! Think back to our briefing! What about it? Well, do you recall hearing about a monster that eats lightning? That stores energy in its shell? Right, so whatever you do, don't attack the shell. Alright, already! Plong! And they're back down! I'm sorry, that just amuses the hell out of me. I know, it's stupid and silly. It really does depend. If I were to give you a not cool answer, Coco, I would say both. Let's go ahead and get a safety save in there. But I'm being serious, yeah, they're just sleeping on the job there. Oh god. What do I do? I'm gonna go ahead and get a safety heal in, because there's literally nothing else I can do right now anyways. Turn-based combat can be very enjoyable. Pokemon is probably one of my favorite examples of turn-based combat. No, what I mean by both is that I enjoy both separately and secretly for different reasons. Active time combat, like, to use an example, the Kingdom Hearts series, is something I very much enjoy as well. I enjoy both basically equally, which is why I say I can't really pick one. That's because this game is incredibly awesome, Xbob. Beyond awesome. Yes, she does get experience. In fact, if you just... Here, check it out. There you go. 328x to level 7. I got to level 6 very early, which means that... Well, okay. Whenever a new party member joins your party, there's a formula to determine what their level will be when they join. The way to get... Do I need to ban that guy, or is he just playing a joke? Yeah, okay, he's just a joke. Sorry. I'm used to getting bots on my comments for Mass Effect, so... Anyways. No, not really. They're elemental. Whenever a new party member joins, they join at a specific level based on a formula that is determined by your average party level, plus or minus a certain amount. The mere fact that Terra is at this point, level 6, at this trigger right here, means Locke will join at a higher level than he would otherwise. That's like I said, there's several reasons why I killed Biggs and Wedge. I think about this game a great deal. I know this game inside and out. I know this game... Oh god, we're awake again! Very well. Now we're going to skip through this awesome cutscene! We're also going to do something else. That, I believe. Or, no, that's not what I meant to do. This, maybe? Yeah. You know what? I don't feel like talking to Jarvis right now. You know what I really could use? Because, I mean, I just went through all that thing. I want an elixir. There we go. Oh, thank God. I don't know if I would have made it through this without that elixir. It's a shame you can't just leave. You can't just be like, well, I'm out, but the door won't open, so let's talk to him. Dialogue. Whoops, whoops. The other thing I will always do is rename so that it's not all caps. I don't know why they did that all caps thing. Cutscene. Or uppercase, whatever. You know what I meant. If you didn't, screw you. Why am I still playing this? I mean, other than the fact that it's the greatest game of all time and I'm enjoying myself, what the heck is wrong with me playing this game? By the way, there you go. Who's mentioning that? Threlemental, there you go. I have 112, 114 HP. 110 now. Of course, now I can't see my ATB bar, and I personally prefer to see the ATB to know exactly who's going to go next in what order. That's just me, though. But, you know, that is a nice thing about FF6, you do have the choice. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I'm conserving my mana. It's literally about to be refilled. So let's set this back to... So another fun Final Fantasy fact that people might not have been aware of. There's a save point right there. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'll get to your question in just a second, Threlemental. You see that chest there? And this one over here? This is the first time you can get those chests. There are, without backtracking, there are no less than 4 periods of time at which you can get these 2 chests. The more you delay, the better the items are in them. In fact, you can get a ribbon from one of those chests if you delay all the way to the World of Ruin when you go through here and to get Mog. So I usually skip them, for obvious reasons. Same with the chests in South Figaro, by the way. Both have the exact same mentality. Now, R, there we go. Now, randomly hidden items. Are you talking about the ones that are in, like, pots and stuff, or are you talking about the RNG drop ones? Help me out. Because I know about both. Oh no, they found me! They found me! Ah, okay. The general idea behind that, ironically, is a lore slash setting reason, believe it or not, because this is FF6 and it's an amazing game, and why not have a lore reason for you to get different loot in the world? Oh, hang on, awesome cutscene. If my voice was better, I'd do my Kefka voice for you guys. I used to do a ridiculously good Kefka voice. Anyways, the way it works is every single item you find in Hidden Things is there because it's trying to flesh out the idea that not everyone keeps their items in chests. That it's trying to get across the idea that this is a planet, this is a world, a setting, not just a game. And so they put items in pots, in barrels, and stuff like that because there would be items in those. You understand what I'm going with this, sir? And that's their big reasoning for doing that. That actually goes back to FF4. Saves? What do you mean? There we go, saves, lots of saves. There we go, lots of saves now. I got saves all over the place. Oh, shiza, please tell me I didn't just do what I think I just did. Okay, hang on just a second, guys. I did. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna have to ask you to bear with me for a second. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that. Well, you guys are about to watch my TAS of FF6, in fast motion, of course. So, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even realize that I was using the file, the emulator that I'm making the FF6 Tas on in order to show you guys FF6, and so I just stupidly erased all my saves. Now I can get them back, I just need to skip ahead to where I was, which I'm doing right now because I really don't want to forget that. This Tas is my masterpiece, the thing I have put so much effort and so much time into. This is my story TAS, and it is immense. The sheer amount of planning and coordinating and thought that goes into this TAS would probably destroy most people's minds. It certainly destroyed mine. There's Vargas. Sabin defeats him very easily. A couple fights, Returner's hideout, talking to everybody. Use a very specific method in order to get the Genji glove while still watching the cutscene. Do not use the infinite leveling trick because that's lame. Ultros. Edgar scenario first. Oh hell, we can fix that with this button. Alright, so as I was saying. Screw you, sis. I hate you, and I hate you forever. Up to Sabin scenario now, which was actually really hard to do. I'll get into this much later when I'm actually done with the task, assuming I ever am, because this is a nightmarishly long, ridiculously complicated thing. Sis, not Zeiss. And here we have the wonderful section known as the Phantom Train. I'm actually going to play one section for this. Everybody knows about this. Everybody does. But it still deserves to be played, because it's just that awesome. Sabin can suplex a train. Show me that in any other game, and I'll call you a poser, because FF6 did it first. Oh, right, music. Ugh. And then we kill it with the Phoenix Down. Literally, the only reason I didn't kill it with the Phoenix Down in the first hit was because I wanted to suplex it. That's the only reason. Also, hey, Snowy. What's up? Alright, Zeiss, I am now ruining everything for you. This is the sequence... Well, actually, I'm not going to talk about this now because there's a ridiculous level of beauty, of complication, of subtlety in this scene that I cannot believe they put into a SNES game. So we're going to skip past it so we don't ruin it for people. Waterfall. Velt. And then my nightmare. Oh, excuse me. Didn't mean to hit my microphone there. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Go. Hey sis. You see that character on the left there, whose name is Gao? That's Gary. Oh, I do too. I love the music of this entire soundtrack. Honestly. And you, afraid of me? You want to fight? Me not want to hurt you. Stop looking at me like that. Dun, 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 dun. We're fighting in a pattern. Dun, dun. By the way, what you were looking at is the intended, scroll rate, I guess is the word I'm looking for the text. Believe it or not, I actually did extensive testing, because this is story TAS. So the idea is for people watching it to be able to read the text, right? Duh. So I actually did like 7 different variations of the speed at which I could advance the text, and asked several people, which one can you read the best, and this is the result. For anyone who's wondering, the way I do this is I actually say these lines out loud, and once I'm finished saying the line, that's when I hit A to advance it. So yes, for anyone who's wondering, that means when I'm making this task, not only do I have to do cutscenes in real time, I'm saying the entire dialogue of the game out loud. You may feel free to make fun of me if you want. I'm gonna skip ahead a bit more here. Now, the section where I have to get a very specific rage. How long did it take me? Oh. There it is. Got it. Probably because you were typing too fast, sis. Oh, hey, a ghost. A dead ghost. Rory, I could answer your question. I'm not going to because I don't want to spoil it for people who are unaware. Zeiss, ruining it for everyone because you haven't played FF6. Gah, I spit upon you, Zeiss. Puh, 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 puh. Watch, Zeiss has actually left the channel because he don't want to have anything spoiled. Come on. Keep going. I skipped the amusing scene, which is actually even funnier in the GBA remake, which I recommend for anybody who can get a hold of it. Where one of the barmaids tries to come on to Cyan, and she does so by saying, "You like him? I call this one Humpty and this one Dumpty." Oh, goodness. Oh, stretch the back out just a bit. Ah. Oh, the battle. This is funny. I'm actually going to play the actual battle in full time. Anybody who's played this sequence, I would like you to watch this, because this is possible in real time, but very difficult. My party that is going to go and defeat Kefka is just Terra, nobody else, I think. Oh well, find out in a minute. Go! Get those vile insects! Or, sorry. Oh, nope, I am totally wrong. I decided to do a full party, that's right, because story reasons. I took all 4 party members who had the most reason to hate Kefka and sent them out. Left Edgar by himself because he's a death machine. Seriously, Edgar is one of the most overpowered characters in this game, in this particular period of the game. It's ridiculous. There we go. Nothing different so far. Just beating up some guys. You'll notice I am really, really, really low level, by the way. I am actually, I believe, in the level 14-ish range at this point. Not 100% on that. Lots of delayed input on timing in order to affect RNG. Down we go. Gotta fight this guy. Still nothing really new. I'm not sure how to take that, Ringo. I mean, I'm told my voice is soothing and all, but I didn't think it was boring soothing. Jeez. Someone listens to me like, can't take it. Almost there. I am really impressed with, or pleased with this, because this is one of those things I developed a strategy for while playing this game live, and I could just perfect it so well while TASing it. And I have a feeling that everybody watching this who actually knows this game is just like, I don't get what you're doing. You're just fighting the guys like normal. Counterattack, dispatch. There we go. Now, we're gonna slip by, get past the first line. He's gonna catch me, but that's okay, because he's really easy to kill. No, not reverse polarity. Anything but reverse polarity. And to prep for the Kefka fight. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I decided not to do that, that's right. My bad. It has been a bit since I've worked on this. Oh, that's right, because I didn't need to prep for the Kefka fight, because this fight went so well. There we go. And bam. One last fight. We're actually going to skip through this one. And there I am. I just got past every single fight. By the way, I'm at level 7, 13, 10, and 8. I just noticed as I was going through that. I just skipped past the entire first wave and all but 3 fights of the second wave to go straight to Kefka. From my understanding, there's a way to do it even more efficiently and really bypass everything, but that requires RNG and luck manipulation that I'm not, that I'm due. And then Kefka dies. This is such an easy fight, it's kind of sad. Again, I'm level 7, and whatever the other levels I mentioned were very, very low level, and I'm just destroying him. Oh no, he might use poison on me. What do I do, guys? I don't even bother healing, there is no reason to. Waste of turns. Oh, I'm lying. I decided to do a heal. Why did I decide? Oh, that's right. No, I do not, Rango. And there it is. Kefka is defeated. Pathetic. Of course, I am well aware of the Vanish X-Zone trick, as well as the Vanish Doom trick, and the Vanish Sketch trick, and the Joker Doom trick, and lots and lots and lots of other tricks. I don't use any of those in my runs. Joker Doom is just cheap, in my opinion. But that's just, well, like I said, my opinion. Cutscene. Awesome cutscene. The GBA remake is the superior version of FF6, in my opinion. No other version compares to it. None. Zip-Zero Zilch. I was trying to go away. And we do the Edgar and Sabin cutscenes of awesome, and the coin flip of awesome, and almost there. Huge detour. Not only to talk to this guy, so people know who he is and what the Dragon Colosseum is later on, but to pick up a hero ring, the single best relic in the entire game. I know some people are going to be like, what about the economizer? What about the gem box? No, 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 no. Hero ring. Best relic game. All of the dialogue, all the translations, they added a couple of new espers, they added a new dungeon, which is kind of cool, not that big of a deal, and an infinite random fights mode, which doesn't matter at all. But they polished a lot of the dialogue, and the translations, and the underlying code of the game, as opposed to the PS1 remake, which is actually not a remake at all, it's a port. It is in fact a direct port which, in order to understand what I'm saying, they put a SNES emulator on the PS1, added a couple features, and said, have fun. I don't remember. I have found out recently that getting a hold of the GBA version is much more difficult than it used to be, which is a shame. I got mine for $30, I believe, something like that, when it came out. Well, giantly spoilery cutscene. Kind of inching my way forward here. Let's go ahead and make a backup save here. Just to be safe, because we're almost there. Almost. Oh, I know what you mean, Ringo. What pisses me off is they were already working on it. They were already in production of FF5 and FF6 on the 3DS, and it was pulled because they're idiots. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to frame advance a bit here. Sorry about the noise. Need to get to 361. Ah, I missed it. Whatever. That's good enough. I've rebuilt my saves. Sorry about the massive delay in doing that. So anyways, this is as far as I am in the TAS. I'm about to hit G-Door. And then go to Zozo. And then conquer the world. And then hit Vector and so forth and so on. And yes, X-Bob, that is exactly why. That is literally the problem. When they did the PlayStation 1 games on the PSP, the Vita, and the PS3, they had a custom shell program which actually ran the PlayStation emulators directly rather than an emulator on an emulator on an emulator. So that's why those on the Vita and the PS3 and the PSP work so well. Whereas when you play any of the ports like Chrono Trigger, FF4, FF5, FF6, trying to think, there's a couple others, they're terrible because, yeah, it's an emulator, an emulator, an emulator. It's ridiculous. I have been streaming for 2.5 hours. Holy crud. I show you FF4, the awesome background. And I bet my online group is ready to murder me now because I've been AFK effectively for forever. Let's see. Although I still need to decide on a response to Zeiss. Oh goodness. But anyways, I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and stop streaming now. I really did. This always seems to happen to me. I really did just want to hop on and chat about TASing and try not to think about things for a second. Okay, Leftover Mondays, I'm going to give it to you real straight, alright? I'm not going to give you it by examples, because that's easy. A true remake is a remake where genuine effort is done in order to actually remake the game on the new code, on the new hardware, on the new software, with additional features that either not additional features, with polishing of what the original game is in a way that does not detract from the original game, and the optional bonus of having additional features which add to the game as a whole in a way that keeps true to the spirit of the original game. Now I'm going to give you examples. Final Fantasy IV on the DS and Chrono Trigger on the DS. Both of those are true remakes. Those are amazing, awesome remakes. I recommend those with 100%. They are beautifully done. A port I usually use as a derogatory term for what I was just talking about, for what they did with FF4, 5, 6, and Chrono Trigger to the PlayStation 1, which was just lazy and shoddy. There is also the HD remake, which I like to call the Hardly Different remake. I'm not even necessarily kidding, really, when it comes down to it. The FF10, for example, Hardly Different remake, is absolutely pathetic. However, it is worth noting that this is a matter of scale as well. In fact, let me show you something. Give me just a second. Let's pull that. I know, load times, Chrono Trigger is one of the worst for me for load times on the PlayStation 1. A friend of mine and I once did a speedrun speed race of Chrono Trigger, and we were playing through it. And I was playing on my SNES, and he was playing on his PlayStation 1. It reached a point where I was so far ahead of him because his load times were insane, and they happened every single battle, every change of cutscene, you know what I mean. And so he got to the point where he was something like 40 minutes behind, and I ended up putting the game down so he could get up to the relative point where I was. Yeah, I think I did mention this story before. That's pathetic. What was I going to look up? Oh, right. Give me just a minute. Hopefully I will find what I need very quickly. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to do something weird here. We're going to turn on the Twitch chat, and we're going to move it like right here. No, we're not. We're going to turn the Twitch chat back off. We're going to turn the SNES chat back on. Does that work? No, that's not going to work, because it's not actually doing it. Hang on. I can make this work. Yeah, let's just load a random game, doesn't matter which. Ogre Battle. Oh, whoops. Well, whatever. Bingo, here we go. Okay. Like I was telling about the HD remakes, this that you're seeing here is the original Wind Waker, okay? This is the HD remake. That is how you do an HD remake right there. Not what they do with so many other games when they do the HD remake. All it is the tiniest bit of polishing. Here, let me give you another example. Again, original Wind Waker on the GameCube, HD version, Wii U. It's still obviously the same game, but I will give full credit to a game that is only, quote-unquote, an HD port if they do the HD part properly. This is another one I actually like, because this gets across the lighting differences. There's Link, or Ganon in my version. Looks like that, right, in the original. And then he's going to look like this in the HD version. Well, yeah, exactly, Leftover. So here, let me pull up the opposite end of this. Give me just a moment. Beautiful example. I don't think I can fit both of these on the screen at once. I sort of can, but this is, you can't see my mouse. The top one is the original. The bottom one is the HD remake. Really, what else do I have to say to that? I don't have anything else to add. They fixed the resolution scaling, okay. And they did polish the textures barely. I'll give them that. But that's why I use that term, hardly different, is because of HDs like that, which are frankly pathetic and laughable. Pokemon remakes. I kind of missed that question somehow. The Pokemon remakes, in my opinion, are true remakes. Brilliantly done. Leaf Green and Fire Red, as well as the Gold and Silver ones, whose proper names I can't think of, Soul Silver and something Gold. Those are amazing remakes. I highly recommend them. Beautifully done. And again, proper remakes. The Silent Hill remakes were laughable. It's another good example of a badly done port. And yeah, Coca-Cola, most HD remakes are literally just upscaled, which is really funny because most people don't know this, but certain consoles can upscale on their own. In fact, I got a very I don't have the ability to show you a specific example here, but Twilight Princess, I actually have the GameCube copy of Twilight Princess. I never bought the Wii version. I bought the GameCube version. That version is upscaled when played on the Wii, because the Wii can upscale things, because duh, that technology already exists. It has existed for some time now. So, yeah, enough said, really. Anyways. Yeah, Xbob, that is the problem. Getting a copy of that game at this point is a shame, because it only saw a limited print run, which is the bane of every gamer's existence, those words. Limited print run. I hate limited print runs, especially when they do it for amazing games. Xenoblade, that's another beautiful example of a recent game that had a limited print run. Good luck finding a copy of that nowadays. But anyways, if you can, get an emulated copy, cough, cough, then I highly recommend it. Oh goodness, it's. I actually feel really bad. My copy of Final Fantasy VI on the GBA, the version I'm recommending, is literally right here. It's actually in my hand now. It's on my desk. I have no better way to describe my love of this game than the fact that this game cartridge is always on my desk, so that if I ever have the mood, I can literally pick it up and bam, and play it just right then and there. No prep, no nothing. Don't have to go looking for it. Don't have to find the box. It's always right here. I freaking love this game. It's a little dusty because I haven't played it lately. Metroid Prime trilogy? I actually don't like that trilogy, and I will never pick it up. There's only two reasons for it. One is the increased load times, and two is the fact that they got rid of some of the subtler details. But otherwise, I don't have an opinion on it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh, I guess there's three reasons. I prefer the control scheme of the GameCube over the Wii. No, you are correct, XBob. In fact, actually, I was looking into this recently because it was a concern of mine. Because I intend to start streaming and doing all the stuff like I've been doing, like I did tonight, on emulation, because I don't have the ability to hook my SNES, which I do have, and my cartridges, which I do have. I don't have the ability to hook those up to my computer to rip the the video out to do it in that manner. So I have to do it in emulation. I was looking into it. There are certain fair use laws that allow emulation to be used under certain circumstances, and as it happens, for example, TASing is something that is legally allowed, as is the kind of things I'll be doing. So it's kind of a gray area, and I've given my opinion on it before. I don't want to get into that whole spiel again about why emulation is the only reason we still have those games. But anyways, as to the Metroid question, yes, I do. I absolutely think we will. Without question. It is my opinion that one of two things will happen with the Wii U. Either it will be another Virtual Boy, or it will be another GameCube. For those of you who don't really remember, yeah, exactly, it's a non-profit thing, Rory. And you'll notice I've never put ads up on any of the things where I am emulating, and that's very much on purpose. No, I will not play FF14. I'd rather jab needles into my eyes. Back to the Wii U thing. The Wii U will either, like I said, it'll either be the Virtual Boy, where Nintendo will bury it and not actually bother, or it will be the GameCube thing, where they will start pushing third-party developers strongly, and we'll start seeing really good games come out on it. At the moment, the Wii U is struggling really hard, admittedly, but that doesn't worry me, if you know what I mean. This is Nintendo. Nintendo has had as many failures as they've had successes over the years. A lot of people tend to forget that. So, not too worried about it. Admittedly, I only have like 3 games, I think, on the Wii U that I really care about right now. But we'll see what they come out with. Oh, excuse me. Which I believe are Nintendo Land. The Lego City one, which looks actually really fun. And I'm trying to remember what the other one is. Hang on a second. What is the other one? Ah, it's me. Ah, it's me everywhere. Ah. I'm actually a firm supporter of the 3DS at this point in time, because while I don't care about 3D at all, the 3DS has significant hardware capacity in order to basically be the equivalent of PlayStation 2, which gives developers a great deal of room to play with it. And it has been its library has not yet stopped increasing, which is awesome. That and the fact that Nintendo has been dominating the portable market for decades. Yeah, exactly, Leftover. There's only one game I've ever played with the 3D on for any length of time, and that's the Ocarina of Time remake, which, by the way, that's a proper remake. That's another example of a proper remake. Very well done. If you wanted to get nitty-gritty, you could call it a proper port, because they only added a few things. But they really, really, really revamped that game. Completely rebuilt the engine from scrap in order to make that game, and I think that deserves credit. Personally. What the hell's the list of games? There we go. List of Wii U games. Good lord. Don't care. Got it on the PC, got it on the PC, got it on the PC. I might pick up Disney Epic Mickey 2 because that was an awesome game. Dragon Quest X if it ever comes out over here. Oh, sure, hang on. There we go. Let's move this up a bit. There we go. So like I said, got it on the PC, or will have it on the PC, will have it on the PC, have it on the PC, have it on the PC. Or, I'm sorry, I don't plan on buying Origins. It looks terrible. Darksiders 2, already have it. PC. There's Epic Mickey 2. Disney Infinity, not really excited about that. Dragon Quest X, if it ever comes out here, I will buy, unless it has a subscription fee. Reading kind of fast. There's Lego City Undercover, definite yes. The Mario Kart will probably be a yes because it's a Mario Kart and those have never been bad. New Super Mario Bros. U, which actually I rather enjoy. I played that a bit in Walmart, and despite the fact that it's just another Mario game, it's a good Mario game, so that's on the list for me. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Terrible game. Don't care. Smash Bros. I'll probably pick up again. Same reason as Mario Kart. The New Legend of Zelda, who knows? Wind Waker HD, we were just talking about that. Definite buy for me. And that's everything. Lol at Xbob. I agree, by the way, Ringo. I'm actually really looking forward to Luigi's Mansion. I have a huge wish list for the 3DS. I haven't been buying them lately because of financial reasons. But, yeah. I've actually played part of this, although I also plan on buying the 3DS of this, Power of Illusion, which I actually did play a good deal of and enjoyed quite a bit. Unfortunately, it did fairly poorly, and I have no idea why, but I've never given a damn about what reviews say, so shrug. Mass Effect 3 Special Edition. I can't believe they're doing that. At least, there is one thing we can all say in the favor of the Wii U. It will be the only console that does not have that freaking Aliens Marine game on it. We got an FF6 one too, which I just switched to. I have zero, and I do stress this, zero interest in buying a PS4. There is absolutely nothing about it that interests me in any way, shape, or form. So I don't care how much the games are going to be out on it, because the system itself would require me winning the lottery and then winning the lottery again to buy it, because I just, there's nothing there. I don't care. I try not to talk about Demon's Souls and Dark Souls. I admit that I have a personal reason for that. One of the things I have a personal issue with is sometimes people will come to me and say, well, what do you think about Game A? No, I know almost nothing about Game A, so I'm like, well, okay. Let's go and look at Game A then. Oh, Game A looks like something I don't really have that much interest in. Okay, well, I'll say, I don't have that much interest in it, unfortunately. And I'll try to be honest about it. You know, it's like it doesn't look like a bad game. It actually looks rather competently made. It's just not my thing, right? And then people will never be quiet about it. See the Witcher series for another example of this. I constantly get asked. I literally get a comment in bare minimum once a week, often more often than that, asking me, when am I going to review the Witchers, and when am I going to review the Dark Souls and Demon's Souls series? And every time I'm asked it, I just get a little bit less interested, you know? And I admit that's just my problem. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the games. But someone is constantly asking me about it, and every time they do, it's like, and I just lose a little bit more interest and a little bit more interest. You know what I mean? I get, after a while, it gets to the point where I'm trying really hard to be nice about it, because I'm running out of ways to say, this does not interest me, I'm sorry. Please forgive me that I don't like the fact that that I don't like this type of game. It's not my thing. You know? I'm gonna scroll up a bit because I've been talking about that for a bit. Someone was talking about. Let's see here. I agree with the comment about the PS4 being an underpowered PC with limited functionality, and the fact that it has 0 backwards compatibility is absolutely not. I have seen the Citadel DLC. I've been avoiding commenting on it because I've been trying to avoid Mass Effect 3, which is still stalking me to this day. But and as I've said before, and I mean no sacrilege or insult in this, it would take Jesus Christ himself coming down and saying, "My son, Arshangaya, reinstall Mass Effect 3 for me to reinstall Mass Effect 3." So, not happening. So I'm never going to actually play the Citadel DLC, so I can't speak to personal experience ever. Oh, I know they did, Ringo. I'm not actually complaining. It's just funny to me, because one of the things that I am so big on, and I'm sure you've seen this if you've seen any of my videos, is I'm big on enthusiasm. I'm big on, yes, games, awesome. Star Trek, awesome. This is great. Let's just talk D&D, yeah. And then the thing that I'm most famous for is me going out and saying, Mass Effect 3 sucked! Well, that's not true. The thing I was most famous for was going out and saying, Mass Effect 3 sucked, and here's how I would fix it. But point remaining. It's just amusing to me. He probably didn't juggle. He's probably like, okay, look, I'm not going to judge you for this, because that's not what I do, but go away. Anyways, the Citadel DLC, there are actually good things in the Citadel DLC. There really are. I'll admit that. I have watched the Citadel DLC because I wanted to have as much of an informed opinion about it as I could. If you asked me would I ever buy it, my answer would be no. If you asked me would I ever buy it on sale, my answer would be no. Would I ever play Mass Effect 3 again just to play the Citadel DLC? I would say no. It is not worth it to me, and it is a little bit too blatant of a money grab, which I think, who said that? Someone just said that in chat. I think I already scrolled past that part. Scroll up a bit. I swear someone said that. Oh, there it is. Xbob said that. Xbob. No, I would not, sis. I would not play it if it was free. 0 interest. Oh, God, I need to... there we go. Well, I appreciate that, Ringo. I put a lot of my heart and my effort into the FF series, and I intend to do that as well with a series of Ruminations that once I am truly better, I will be doing, which is called, you may have heard of it. It's really esoteric video game series. Not many people are familiar with it. It's called The Legend of Zelda, and to say I'm looking forward to that would be an understatement. You can't see me right now, but I'm grinning ear to ear. I cannot wait to talk about the entire Legend of Zelda series. I'm so looking forward to it. And I just want to say, several of you have said something that I have not directly responded to. A lot of people have said complimentary things that, like here, I'm just going to scroll back up here. Scroll. There were others who said what you said about MA3 and gave their ideas for an ending, but you were the only one who went so in depth with it, and you were the one who found the right words to describe it and all that stuff. Basically, what I'm saying is thank you. That is flattering, so thank you. I like Snarg's comment too. Oh, and by the way, I am also really looking forward to my Ruminations for Kingdom Hearts series as well. The Kingdom Hearts series is what I like to call the last bastion of Square, because I love it. I love it all the way up to 3D. Love the hell out of that series. Cannot wait to ruminate about that series. And I love that quote too. I'm going to pull that quote up right now because I love that quote that much. Hang on a second. rest assured, I have every intention to continue the D&D, the Star Trek series is, all of it, everything. I want to get back on the wagon, so to speak. Yes, I did Leftover. I know a lot of people have complained about KH3D. I don't know what they're complaining about. The story was brilliant. They've really started moving forward with the animation of the styles of the cutscenes. They're really starting to draw the story to a obvious finale and conclusion, and I love it. I am very much looking forward to the next Kingdom Hearts. I found the quote. If you'll forgive me for sharing this again, just because I love this quote. I still remember when during the launch party for Final Fantasy VI, the notoriously unforgiving Mr. Sakaguchi gave a speech. Thanks to every one of you. We have created the best game in the world. No, the universe. Thank you. I cried. There were tears on my face. Those tears made me realize just how much I had invested myself in the project. I hope that the Final Fantasy games forever continue to be a source of joy, not only for the fans, but for the developers as well. I'm sorry, I actually started tearing up reading that. Nobuo is awesome. There's a secret I have to share. Anybody who knows about this in chat, don't type it. I'm trying to keep it secret for now. My very first video, I've already decided when I come back, my very first video is going to be talking about something related to Nobuo Uematsu, and I'm very looking forward to that too. I agree, Ringo. Nobuo is an amazing person. He's an awesome guy. He really is. And he still is. That's the funny part. He's an old man now, and he is still doing tons of stuff, and he's still awesome. And I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to give anything else away. What was that, Rory? What were you asking about? Oh, I agree, Coco. I don't know. Hang on just a second. Here it is. Linear notes from the Final Fantasy XIV battle track. Here's a link in chat. Boom. Enjoy. You scroll down, and you will see Nobuo talking about what he's been doing, and you get to the very last paragraph, and that's the quote that I just quoted for you. Getting back to what Coco just said. I don't know how many people actually know this, but Nobuo Uematsu was really being pushed hard in FF8 and FF9. I talked about this actually in my reviews of both. That's why he stepped down. He was being driven ragged, and the man had so little time to generate the soundtrack of an entire game, 4 CDs worth of music, in so little time. FF9 was made in a ludicrously small amount of time. I do not blame him whatsoever for falling out of the series. Everything since then that has had his stamp has been awesome. Every song I like from Final Fantasy X is one he did, and that's, well, okay, that's actually a lie. There's like 2 others. But every song he did do in FF10, I like. And I like a lot of the music he did in FF14 as well. That's kind of my point, Snowy. He was working so... You know what, let me look up the numbers. Let me just look this up real quick. Give me a moment. Alright. Look at... There's that. Alright. Now these are Japanese release dates, but those are the ones that kind of matter. On February 11th of 1999, Final Fantasy VIII came out. Now that was when it was actually released. At that point in time, they were already working on Final Fantasy IX, because as I've mentioned in my reviews, most of the team was actually different between FF8 and FF9. The exception to this was Nobuo Uematsu. Literally the day he finished FF8, he had a whole interview about this. It was horrible. The day he finished FF8, he got up and started working on FF9. FF9 came out July 7th, the year 2000. For anyone keeping track, that is 1 year and 5 days. Now that may sound like a long period of time, but I want you to picture doing an entire game soundtrack in less than 1 year and 5 months. That's what I meant to say, months, not days. Seriously, I want you to picture trying to do that, and the pressure of that, and the stress of that, having just finished doing another game's complete soundtrack immediately prior to it. That's why Nobuo Uematsu left Square Enix and started doing only consulting work after that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do not blame that man in the least for bowing out. It was a tragedy, but completely understandable. Where was... That doesn't... It's not here. Whatever. It's kind of funny. Most people don't remember that FF9 was also the first really publicized, or I guess is the word I'm looking for, FF. You know, did anyone remember those Coca-Cola commercials they had? Was it Zidane running around getting them and stuff like that? And they were pushing that whole play online service, which was the stupidest idea in the known universe. God, that was dumb. Holy crud. Anyways. Oh, stretch. Yeah, that it's really bad when you have a strategy guide that's wrong. But then you have a strategy guide that's wrong and incomplete. It's just like layers at that point. Where is it? Majora's Mask had the most awesome ad. I only ever saw one. It was the one where it was a live action ad. Anyone ever see that one? Oh, what was it? No. Give me a second. I bet you I can pull it up right now. Absolutely amazing. Has anyone seen this ad? Hang on, we're going to turn this back on. You got to see this. Okay, you see this? Majora's Mask End of the World ad.
One home. Rated E for everyone.
Actually, that's not the one I wanted to share with you. It's kind of funny. There's actually two live-action trailers. But they're awesome. And, like I said, Legend of Zelda, for the win. Oh, I know what you mean, Leftover. But to be in my interest in being fair, that was for a game, Rory. For Legend of Zelda: The Majora's Mask on the N64. Miyamoto is a genius. I'm sorry, he is, and has been for years. But everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes problems. Everybody makes bad choices. That's human nature. So I'm not going to necessarily hold that against him. I'm not going to hold the fact that Sticker Star was a monumental pile of garbage against him, per se. It's a black mark, of course. But I'm not going to turn around and say, well, yeah, the last 30 years of absolutely amazing that he's punched out means nothing now, because he ruined one game. How dare he? Or, to put my words in another way, I have no interest in being a fanboy. But I agree with you. Paper Mario Sticker Star was one of those games that was an automatic buy for me because it was a Paper Mario. I love that series. Paper Mario 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in the top 20. And that was such a terrible disappointment. I never finished it. I actually put down Sticker Star. It was disgusting. Anyways, yes, I did see that E3 conference. Poor guy. But you know what? And this may sound cruel, but I will gladly take Miyamoto having issues with the Wii any day over Reggie. I'm sorry, Reggie is the most boring presenter in the known universe. That man has zero charisma. In D&D terms, he literally has zero charisma. He could be up there talking about a Final Fantasy VI remake for the Wii U. Fully done in high definition, proper modern remake graphics, everything. Just boom. And I would be like, it's Reggie. What's he talking about? Well, I guess I'll get back to that later. And then, like, later on, my friend Pax would link me and be like, hey, did you hear about the FF6 remake on the Wii U? And I'm like, what? No. What are you talking about? Well, yeah, Reggie was talking about it. Oh, that explains it. God. Actually, going over the Mario RPG series is something that is on my list. That is, for anyone who's curious, that is going to include the Mario and Luigi's, the Paper Marios, minus Sticker Star, because it's not a Paper Mario, and Super Mario RPG, of course. I couldn't do a lamentation of Reggie, because I just did it. You're absolutely right, Snark. That is exactly what he's doing. He is up there on the stage, unconscious. That would explain so much. You know, he does that pause thing where he's like, everyone, together we will be showing you another day of whatever. You know, he does these huge, pointless beats, these pauses. There's not even a rhythm to them. You know, most people do that. Even William Shatner had a rhythm to it. Reggie just stops, and it's like he loses his train of thought or something. Like he's just... let me just pull up a random bit of text here from anything. I don't know. Here we go. I'm going to pull up the latest post from Zeiss. Zeiss leans back in his chair, trying to find a position that is more comfortable. You know, he really, really, really drags him out. It's stupid. I'm going to stop ragging on Reggie. Oh, I am so looking forward to Mario and Luigi Dream Team. You know what it's going to be left? And I'll tell you this exactly right here and right now. Paper Mario Sticker Star, despite all of my many complaints and hatreds towards it, if I pull myself out of myself, if I go into balance mode, if I go to the point where I'm being completely fair about it, it's actually a competent game. It is not a Paper Mario. That is my complaint. In a nutshell, it is not a Paper Mario. It is a Mario. It is just a plain old Mario game. My worry here is all the trailers and ads for Sticker Star all showed the gameplay, which looked fine. Which is fine, actually. It has some obvious problems. Boss fights come to mind. The limited ammunition thing is silly and unnecessary. But ultimately, it is very functional. All we've seen for trailers for Mario and Luigi Dream Team is gameplay. So I am very much holding out hope that that game will renew my faith in the Mario RPG series, and I plan on buying that the day it comes out one way or another, because I really hope that it's going to be amazing. I like to call that the Star Trek Into Darkness mentality. Like I said, if I'm being completely fair, if I'm being completely myself, I would actually call Sticker Star a fairly decent Mario game. Because that's really what it is if you look at it. It is simply a plain old Mario game. No story worth a damn. Bowser has zero dialogue throughout the whole thing. Bosses kind of suck. The RPG elements don't exist. There's nothing about it that is a Paper Mario. But it is at least a competent Mario game. I was just so discouraged because, as I was trying to explain to a friend of mine, who had never played the Mario series, and he's really big on the Metal Gear Solid series. So I'm like, okay, I want you to picture that Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all awesome. And his response was, done, easy. And I'm like, okay, you got that. Now let's say they've announced a new Metal Gear Solid series is coming out. And he's like, awesome, I'm ready. Yes, this is great. And I'm like, okay, all the trailers, all the everything look great. And he's like, I don't even need the trailers. And that's exactly right. You don't need the trailers. You already have so much trust in this series that it doesn't occur to you to think, is this going to be good or not? And then Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, and it's a top-down space sim shooter, like 1942 or something. And you're just playing it like, and there's no plot twist, there's no dialogue, except for very, very small amounts. And you're just playing a Metal Gear, which is shooting guys from the top down. If it's bothering you that much, I'll throw FF5 up instead. There you go. There you go. Have fun. But seriously, that's what I compare Sticker Mario to. That is genuinely what I compare it to. It may be a competent top-down shooter game, but that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to buy when I picked up a Metal Gear frickin' Solid. Do you follow me? Yes, I did see the end of every trailer to finally catch up to my questions there. No real commentary on that. Link to the Past sequel? Well, okay. Yes, okay, Rory. I have been... one of the things I did once upon a time was graphics editing, okay? I was really big on it. I actually made quite a career of it back in the 90s, alright? One of the things I do to this day is I make my own custom desktops, custom images for everything, basically, for absolutely everything. And I sat down with the sprite sheets for Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, and a few others, Mega Man X, Mega Man, and I said, okay, I want to make an awesome wallpaper. And these took a hellaciously long amount of time, mostly because these, like for example, the FF5 one you're looking at right now doesn't that place doesn't actually exist in FF5 like that. That is a compilation of like 10 different spots in the very last dungeon of Final Fantasy V, which have been pieced together to look like it's one coherent place. And then, you know, I put the sprites on it, and it's all... no, there is not Xbob. I've got them on my computer. They're all... it's all symbolic. A lot of thought was put into making it make sense. Like, here, let me give you a better example. FF6. Every single thing on FF6 to the pixel has been balanced against everything else in it so that it forms a pattern, so that everything on here makes sense from a story, from a lore, from a setting perspective. To give you a immediate and obvious example, if you look at the top, Celis and Locke there's actually no pixels separating them. They are directly staring at each other. There is no distance between them. They're actually the line that divides them. This is an odd width wallpaper, and I did that on purpose to make sure that the line... I'm sorry, an even width wallpaper, and did that on purpose to make sure that the line that divides them is the very center of the entire wallpaper. And again, like Ringo was just saying, the two Terras on the roof. One who is looking up with her hair out in the wind, looking with hope, and her beastly form who is looking down in sorrow, in regret. And so forth and so on. I could actually spend quite a while talking about all the details that went into these. But let's not do that. That'd be crazy. Where is... Let's scroll up a bit here. I saw someone ask something. Link to the Past sequel. Right. There was a game that came out in Japan only on the satellite whatever. I can't even remember what the hell it was called. And it was a direct sequel to Link to the Past, done in that particular Hyrule and blah blah blah. I am very hopeful that this new sequel is not that, is not a remake of that. That is my biggest worry about the new Link to the Past. If it's not that, then hey, I'm probably going to buy it day of. What else? Okay, let's scroll up a bit because I've got no other questions here. Or Street Fighter. A lot of other good examples there. Final Fantasy is a first-person shooter, or Street Fighter became Call of Duty. All excellent examples of what I'm talking about with Paper Mario Sticker Star. What is this link? What is this Sonic link here? Oh. Yeah, that's a sad one. And I disagree with one of them, actually. But I certainly lament the loss of Mega Man. Because those of you who have been paying attention haven't... Well, let's just say Mega Man hasn't been for a while. In fact, in honor of Mega Man, we're going to toss that up. RIP Mega Man. I'll miss you. And I did this one too, by the way, if that's not obvious. A little less lore relevance, because there's only so much you can do with Mega Man, but I did make the effort to make every single monster on there and have... Or monster, Robot Master on there. Robotenmeister. And did a couple things to make sure they were unique, like the Twin Gemini, and, you know, Gutsman is actually holding one of his boulders, Pharaoh Man is actually shooting one of his flames, Yamato Man is actually twirling, which is what is keeping Crystal Man up, you know, blah, 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 blah. And actually all the shield people are all standing together. Most people don't actually notice that when they look at this. I did hear that excuse left over. It is wrong. Anybody who actually pays attention to the gaming news that they... and what am I thinking of? Where they go to the shareholders and say, here's what happened. Those reports drastically disagree with everything else, and frankly, Capcom has been making some immensely stupid ideas and decisions lately. The only reason I don't hate them more than I do is because of a company called Square Enix and a company called EA. Otherwise, Capcom is at the top of the list. Breath of Fire, gone. Devil May Cry, destroyed. Resident Evil has been gone for some time, admittedly, but, you know, whatever. Mega Man! Mega Man! One of the original franchises in video gaming. Gone. Screw you, Capcom. In fact, I'm just going to look something up real quick. Just give me just a moment here. September 13th, 1985. September 13th, 1985. Mega Man came out 2 years and 2 months after Super Mario Bros. Did. That may or may not sound significant, but I mention that because, again, Mega Man really was one of the original franchises, one of the old boys, back there with Mario, and with Zelda, and with Metroid. There aren't many franchises that kept going as long as they did that are older than Mega Man. And don't even get me started about DMC. I just want to spit on that game until I die of dehydration. And I know that's really harsh, especially for me, but it's true. Anyways. What the hell were we talking about? Oh, right. I was asked a question over here. Oh, I shall answer that question in private. Ringo, what you are saying right there is a unfortunate and vibrant truth of video gaming in general. It is an ironic truth, and this is what I'm about to say is my opinion. I want to make that clear. The video game industry in general suffers from two diametrically opposed problems. On the one side, there have been no new IPs worth a damn, with some exceptions, I'll give you that, for some time. On the other hand, there have been no proper remakes. I keep using that term, and it really comes together here. There have been no, with few exceptions, there have been no proper remakes in the modern era either. I've talked about this at length before. I could go on listing for hours the number of old games on the PCs, on the SNES, on the NES that should have a proper modern remake, and people would buy it, not just for nostalgia's sake, but because it was a good game. And if you take away the annoyances of a good game, what you have is a great game. We've already seen that proven. Final Fantasy I. Anybody who played Final Fantasy I on the NES knows just how much of a pain that game was to play. It punished you for playing it. It was a pile of disorganized code. When they made the proper remake of FF Origins, which I believe was on the PlayStation first, and then it came out on the GBA, all of a sudden FF was a great game. because it always was a great game. We just were the technology, the time were getting in the way. You know what I mean? There are so many games that sit in that category or in a similar category that would sell if they did proper remakes. So that's the left hand. And again, on the right hand, new IPs. There are, like I said, there are new IPs, and there are some that are doing something, but virtually every game, in fact, every game without exception, I was talking with PAX about this recently, every single game that is coming out in the next 2 years that I'm aware of is a part of a franchise that already exists, or a sequel, or a remake, every single one of them. No new IPs, no proper remakes, with exceptions on both sides. If I were to be blunt, I think that those two things are the problem with the video game industry right now. Too many people are doing the reboot things. Watch Dogs. I'm hesitant about Watch Dog. I don't want to go into that. I am very hesitant about it. It will either be, in my opinion, absolutely amazing or absolutely terrible. There really is no middle ground on Watch Dogs. It will either be absolutely freaking incredible or it will fail in every single way, shape, and form. So I will give you the exception of Watch Dogs. I will give you that. But anyways. Ringo, I think people do reboots because they're easier to do. Speaking as a programmer, speaking as someone who knows a great deal of business and accounting, a reboot is a lot easier to do and a lot simpler and a lot cheaper. And like you say, there is a degree of safety in doing that. Excuse me, my throat's starting to give out on me. The DMC game is actually a good example. I do know some people who enjoy it, and you know what? That's great. I'm actually glad that some people can get some joy out of that game. But I think rebooting the series was an incredibly poor idea, especially given how much it seems to slap the old fans in the face. Going for new fans is not necessarily a bad idea, let's make that clear. But if you're sticking to an existing franchise, you do have to take the old fans into consideration. That's just logic. Project Eternity is another one of those things that I'm just staring at and waiting on. That's a bomb waiting to go off, and it's either going to blow up and have candy everywhere, or I'm going to have shrapnel in my face. I'm not sure which. Actually, most of the new IPs coming out, all the exceptions that I just mentioned and the ones you guys are listing, are pretty much right there. There's nothing that is coming out that is a new IP, that is an exception, that I'm staring at, and I'm like, yes, that's going to be incredible. There's not a single one. I'm worried about every single one of them. I am hopeful. Don't mistake me. I'm actually quite hopeful. I liked Legend of the Dragoon. Sorry, a little delay here. I don't have a lot to say about it, to be honest with you. It's I consider it in the category of the Tales of series. Anybody ever played those? The Tales of series are certainly good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. But if you asked me to name a distinctive feature about them, it would be the fact that they are JRPGs. And that's all I got. Fantasia, I believe that was, on the GameCube. I've played several. They're still coming out, too. Tales, let's just look that up. Which one was the GameCube one? I'm kind of curious now. Oh, my bad, it was Symphonia. That was the GameCube one. I liked that one. Of course, I liked most of them. I've liked all of them that I've played. I have not played Dishonored. I don't know how to explain why. I know that's kind of a cop-out. There's a lot of games. Okay, right now money's kind of tight. Duh. So any new game that I want has to go through the ringer for me to actually pick up. Period, right? As you might imagine, that means very, very few games actually get picked up for me at this moment. So if Dishonored goes on super sale, like on Steam or something, yeah, I'll probably pick it up. But it's not in the priority list high enough for me to pick up right now without a super sale, like a 75% sale or something like that. Neck. And yeah, there is a Tales game. What is that one? Xillia and Xillia 2. PS3. Actually, Xillia 2 has already come out in Japan. Not yet come out here. Oh, do not talk to me about Star Ocean. I do not wish to speak on Star Ocean. God. Where's it? I actually like Japanese humor for the most part. One of my favorite series is, as far as Japanese humor goes, is the Dragon Quest series. And I mean that sincerely. They have a very dumb, very punny, very kind of tongue-in-cheek, bad humor about it. I love it. Makes me laugh every time. Ringo, that is the problem. In a nutshell, I enjoyed Star Ocean. I was one. Okay, I probably shouldn't say this on the stream. I played the translated version. I'm just gonna not say anything. Star Ocean 1 was good. Star Ocean 2 was amazing. Star Ocean 3 was alright up until the twist, which was the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my entire life still. I have still never seen a twist in a video game, movie, or book that has been that stupid. And then there was Star Ocean 4, which we're not even going to talk about. Excuse me, need a drink. What other series died out? There's another one I was... well, I guess I could just pull up that list, can't I? Because I have a list of game series that have died out. Or haven't come back or anything like that. Where is that list? There it is. Whoops. Don't need to show this because this is spoilers for the online group. The Sword of Mana series, or the Seiken Densetsu series if you prefer, includes two of my favorite games of all time. The Mega Man series, the Breath of Fire series. I don't even remember that. How about Ivalice, which they did two terrible games for, and then just kind of stopped. Suikoden is another good one. Tierkris was the last one, I believe, and it was subpar at best. I'm very looking forward to the new Pokemon. That's a series, it's one of those like 3 or 4 series that have never disappointed me. Paper Mario was a part of that list until quite recently. Oh, sorry, Zeiss. God, I'm practically doing a Q&A at this point. Let's switch backgrounds. Let's go to Mega Man X. There we go. Okay. Half-Life 3 may come out someday, but there's a formula which I do not remember the name of right now. It's a term that exists in entertainment media. It doesn't matter what kind. Movies, books, television, music, anything. Once you have gone over the limit on this formula, once the formula is equal to 0 or negative, you have officially reached the point where your entertainment that comes out has basically failed already. No matter what you do, it cannot equal out to the weight, to the amount of time it took for it to come out. And Half-Life 3 actually passed that last March, I believe. Something like that. So I've forgotten it exists, because that's the only way I can deal with it. If Half-Life 3 ever comes out, I'll probably play it. Probably won't buy it new. But I'll probably buy it. Now the catch here leftover is there is the possibility of a game like that living up to expectations. I can give you one example of that right off the top of my head. This is of course just my opinion, but StarCraft II, Wings of Liberty, took years and years and years and years and years to come out. Most people forgot it even existed. There was that whole StarCraft Ghost thing. Zero news. And then StarCraft II came out and it was amazing. It was a freaking incredible game. Well worth the wait. So it's not like it's not like the formula is an absolute. But every single other game that I could think of that has been vaporware for massive amounts of time, Final Fantasy Versus comes to mind. Yeah, it's over the limit at this point. I simply stopped hoping. Stopped hoping. The Lufia series is a series I absolutely love, and I'm really sad that has stopped too. The Est Polis series, for those of you in Japan. Prequel. Um, Lufia 2, Lufia 1 was alright. Lufia 3 was alright. The Lufia remake was actually pretty good, all things considered. Lufia 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, you know. I really wish that series hadn't just vanished off the face of the earth, but whatever. That company disintegrated is the main problem. And to finally mention the Pokemon thing, yes, I'm very glad that X and Y are coming out simultaneously. Again, that's going to be a day of buy. The Pokemon X and Y have already earned my money, if you know what I mean. Granted, I am a Pokemon fan. I have absolutely no shame about this. But, you know, I don't know. Hang on. Let me see which guy looks more appealing to me real quick, just right now. Wikipedia. What, you think I'm kidding? That's usually how I decide. Generation 6. New Pokemon. I'll tell you one thing. When more info comes out, whichever one lets me get, what's it called? Sylveon. If one of the versions is limited so I can't get Sylveon, which is the new Eevee, I'm going to get the one that lets me get the new Eevee. Just period. After that, I'm probably getting Y, actually. I'm thinking Y. I really like the antlers thing. I really like the design on that. X doesn't quite appeal to me, not my thing. So I'm thinking Y, as of right now. What the hell is Nuzlocke? Nuzlocke is apparently a comic. Excuse me. But yes, I'm an unadulterated, unashamed Pokemon fan. Have been since Silver and Gold. Which is one of those amusing things about me. Interesting fact, there are very few series I started playing at the beginning. I usually get in like at the second game. It's just kind of a weird thing. No, I'm pretty sure that's why. Let me pull it up again. I just closed the window. Hang on, hang on. Here, we'll even do this. I'll switch back over here, turn this off, pull up this. Okay. Is this X? Why is that X? He has the Y. He is the okay, apparently he is the version mascot of X, though. So they're flipped like they did with black and white. Okay, so apparently I'll be picking up X. Because, that is Y. Or rather, that's the guy that I like, which is the point. And then this little guy, in all his doomy nature. Whoa! Giant picture. I will devour your souls of your Pokemon. No, I'm sorry. I play Pokemon because it's an awesome, complicated, wonderful, lighthearted, enjoyable RPG, not because I want to devour people's souls. Back again. And of course, Sylveon. The only Pokemon that really matters. I mean, honestly. Let's just be frank with ourselves. Silliest? Oh, that's easy. Give me a second. I gotta actually find it. No, okay. I need the... I do not know what EV Purist means. Help me out. Alright, here we go. The whole list. Every frickin' Pokemon. This is what I wanted. Loading, please wait. Oh goodness, no. I've never ever kept an Eevee without evolving him. Or her, or whatever. Never. Not since the original. Now, where's the guy I'm thinking of? Oh, I admit the Chandelier Pokemon is a bit much. I do like the pun in Fungus Among Us, but like I said, I like puns. Ah, here we go. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to take it back, because I actually kind of like this Pokemon. This is the ice cream Pokemon, for those of you who are not aware. I agree with you, by the way, Left. I hear people say that about everything, ever. It never fails to irritate me. Let me give you a direct example. World of Warcraft. People have been saying forever, oh my god, World of Warcraft is just getting worse and worse and worse, and it's the worst thing ever, and oh my god, the game's going down the tubes. And it just gets old after a while. There's also the Gothic Pokemon. I'll just leave that there. There was another one. I don't care for several of their designs, like this guy. Not my thing. Is this the one? Hang on a second. No, that's not it. Sorry, give me a break here. There's like 700 of these things. Although I do like sock and throw. Is this your construction worker? No, that's the fighter guy. Oh god, I can picture him. Hang on. Oh, I've been in Generation 5. That's the problem. Okay, he would be up a lot more, like way more. Where somewhere around here. This is gonna bug me. I will find the stupid looking Pokemon. Or maybe I won't. Holy crud. Oh, there he is. Gosh darn it. I think this guy is just dorky and stupid looking. That's just me. I mean, look at this guy. Hi. I've got a really weird tail. You know. And in case that doesn't terrify you enough, he has a second form. That is the worst looking, stupidest looking Pokemon in my opinion. Smeagol. Whoops. Spoiler info. Let's go back to Mega Man. That's what I really should have here. And Twitch chat. Whoop. Wrong Twitch chat. Whatever. Zeiss, I am supposed to tell you that your sister, or my sister rather, has PM'd you. And Zeiss has a message for you, sis, that he has PM'd you in return. Damn it! I'm roaming again. I need to stop doing that. I always get over the 3-hour mark. You ever notice that? I can't seem to get away from it. Oh, Pokesis. Oh. Hang on. Hang on. Let's go back to Bulbapedia. Oh, what the heck is the name of that thing? Yeah, my sister and I long ago decided that a particular Pokemon was her, and a particular Pokemon was me. So the Pokesis, aka her, and the Poke-Me, which doesn't really have a name, but whatever. Poke-Doom, I guess? I don't know. Poke-Bro. Yeah, sure, I'll go with that. Where is she? I'm so bad with names, and it really comes into the light when I'm trying to look up something that I know. I know what it looks like, I know its stats, I know what it can be bred with. I've got all sorts of info there, but I can't think of its name. I am terrible about that. Like, Bob. Bob or Derwillerschmidt. Well, now hang on, because there was a recent one in Generation 5 that also could be you. Hang on, I know that one. Just looking at that one. Hang on. M doesn't help. Here we go. Was it... Here, I'm going to link you in Yahoo. Was this him? Or here, let's link the PNG there. Boom. Is that it? Yes, no, yes, no. No? Well, that's the M, so you're wrong. I'd be Mewtwo. That's just... there it is. Starts with a P, sis. Starts with a P. You were wrong. You lied to me. Let's go back to this thing. Pull this back up. And behold! Whoops, too big. The Pokesis. I can't even make this smaller. Hang on. There we go. Behold, my sister in Pokemon form. That is a Pachirisu. And I actually like Luxray. It's one of my favorite electrics. That's how I found it, too. I guess you can see that. I'm at the electric list here and everything. As for me... Oh, God! Knee pain. Wait, I know which one would be Rory, though. Yeah, let me find the specific one here. Assuming it even does that. Rory would be the lawnmower one. Right here. This guy. Oh, alright, you can't see it here. Click. The lawnmower guy. That's Rory. You're like, I'm a lawnmower. Do they have other artwork of these guys? Hang on. What is that one? That is... I don't know what that is. Grass. The grass Rotom, which is... Scroll up. Grass, 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 grass. There it is. Oh, I don't have a picture. Sorry, guys, I don't actually have a drawn picture. Okay, which would Zeiss be? Let me think about that for a moment. Let me go back to the big list. And let me think. Zeiss, was that Generation 4? Yes, there's a washing machine Pokemon. No, I don't want to tell Zeiss he'd be that one. He'd take that as a huge compliment, be like, "Bwahaha, I am evil and awesome." But no, it's Generation 3 is the one. Dude, Ringo, I'm not even sure I'd take cybernetics at this point. I've worked in technology my whole life. I know just how unreliable it is, really. Where is it? I'm in Generation 4 still. I need to be in Generation 3. No, this is Generation 3. Okay, hang on. Where is it? There it is. This guy. This is you, Zeiss. Alright, who else asked? Javin asked, okay. Let's figure out who the heck... This is a Ninjask, which is actually a really awesome Pokemon if you use it right. Snarg? I'd have to think about Snarg. Wait, no, I've got it. Snarg immediately. Behold, Snarg. 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 Oh, I can't do it anymore. Damn. I'm kidding, that's not Snarg. Ow. Okay. I know which one would be me, by the way. It's not actually a legendary, it's this sucker. Props to anyone who actually recognizes this. Alright, gotta get the file name off there. That'd be me, though. Anybody? Any guesses? Terrible spelling, but yeah, that's him, Tyranitar. Dark Rock, and one of the biggest heavy hitters there is, and he's awesome. Takes forever to level, but once you get him up there, he is insane. Okay. I had an idea for Javin, and I still need to think of one for Snarg. Give me a moment. There we go. And that's Javin. I need Snarg still. Where is... Hang on. Garchomp is another of my personal favorites. He's awesome looking, and he's awesome in stats, and he's really cool, and... Yeah, enough said. Okay, he's got to be in here somewhere. Nope, nope, here we go. No, I'm not going to do that, that's stupid. Where the heck is he? I know he's Generation 2. There he is. This is Snarg, right here. Ursaring. Ah, that's Snarg, definitely. Another awesome Pokemon if you know what you're doing with it. Of course, most could be said of that. Alright, Javin, you ready to see yours? Are you ready? Is your body prepared? Whoa, shoot. Ugh. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. That hurt. Okay. Anyways, are you ready, Javin? Well, other people are ready. That's good enough for me. Pajam! This is Javin right here. Whoops. Over. Down. Steel Flyer, Skarmory. You need TMs to make it awesome, but once you do, that is a brutal combo. And he's pretty cool looking too. Are you kidding? He's got 3 scarves. Look at him. He just knows how to actually wrap them properly. Oh, goodness. I have no idea what you're talking about, Ringo. To be honest with you. Oh, goodness. No, I do not left. Or I should rephrase my statement a little bit. I have tried the Pokemon television series. I've tried the Pokemon manga. I've tried the movies. I've tried the the stupid little games like the arena stuff and the pinball, Pokemon Snap, which is apparently really popular. I'm not sure why. If my tone isn't getting across the point, I don't like any of these. Not a single one. None of them appeal to me. Not at all. It's kind of strange, actually. It's one of the things I always have to clarify when I say, I am a fan of Pokemon, the main series, because I don't like anything else. Not even Pokemon Dungeon. I did try it. I did actually try it. But I did not care for it. Oh, goodness. Where is he? Not even sure why I'm still looking at these. Although, for anyone who's curious, this is my personal favorite Eevee. By far. Probably my favorite grass type, too. Oh, Zeiss, right, you want to post. Bam! Alright, let's do a post. We're going to do a live posting. This is streaming posting here. Guido? Oh. Shoot, hang on. I know exactly who Guido would be. It's Generation 3. Gotta get up here. Without... I didn't have to think about that for, like, longer than 2 seconds. Boom. That guy. That's Guido. That is an Aggron, and that is the tank from hell. There is it's steel rock. There is one other possibility, admittedly. I'm just gonna look this one up. There it is. And that'd be this guy, Steelix, who doesn't look as impressive unless you see him, like, properly. It's hard to remember that this sucker's, like, 30 feet tall. Oh, goodness. Alright, post Tis Ice. Live post Tis Ice. Let's see if I have enough of a brain to do that. Is anyone... See you around, Geth. Thanks for checking out. Or you know what I mean. Thanks for being here. God, it's so hard to type in this woman's text mannerism. Oh, I know what you mean. Bronzong has such ridiculous defenses. You gotta have... You either gotta just kind of live with a slow battle, or... Actually, I don't even remember off the top of my head. Hang on. Now I gotta look it up. Sorry, Zeiss. People keep asking me Pokemon things. I've gotta answer. Have to. What are you weak to? Ground and fire, and that's only a double in both cases. And I usually don't have either of those in my party. Cyndaquil's awesome. Most Pokemon are awesome, in my opinion, to be completely honest. You just about name any Pokemon, and my response is going to be, yeah, that Pokemon's awesome. The way it's supposed to sound... Hang on, let me actually scroll up. She has a bolted iron plate on one of her teeth right up here. So while I don't doubt your information, you'll notice we have things all under control here, with no need for protection or safety. And I have never heard of these Thiothians before. I doubt they could be of any real threat to you if your band was able to defeat them. No offense. I'm afraid you'll have to do better if you want to entice us. That's what she's supposed to sound like, except, you know, female. Trubbish is awesome. Typhlosion, awesome. I agree with Ringo. Ghost is actually my favorite type. True story. You know, I bet I could scroll this right there, so Zeiss is like, no, I can't actually read as he's posting. I'll put it like right there, just to taunt him. Actually, I prefer Haunter over Gengar. I know he's worse stats. I know he has worse abilities. I don't care. He looks so much cooler. Haunter rocks. Haunter rocks. Yeah, there we go. Oops. Oh, I know what you mean, Snarg. True story. I never traded Pokemon, drumroll, until I owned a second Game Boy. Now, I didn't purchase a second Game Boy to trade with myself. What I mean is that a friend of mine, my girlfriend at the time, actually purchased a SP for me. And I already owned a GBA. And so when the remakes came out with Fire Red and Leaf Green, that was the first time ever I was actually able to trade Pokemon. Ever. Of all the video game friends I had, none have ever been into Pokemon until much more recently. Now, if my sister was here, she'd be like, you traded with me, but that's recent. Oh, I know what you mean, Ringo. That Street Pass thing was such a beautiful idea. I live in a city, a fairly busy city. Not like LA or anything like that. A friend of mine and I, both when we got our 3DSs, actually put them into Street Pass or whatever mode, and just kind of went out and did our thing. Went to the mall, went to the restaurant, went to see a movie, came back. We had a grand total of something like 5 passes, and all of them were each other. Every single one. It was sad and kind of pathetic. One of the only regrets I have about living in the States is the video game community here is so secular. You really have to go out and dig for it if you're going to find it. And once you do, it's awesome, but, you know. One of the things I'm actually hoping for is to get into a particular video game community I am aware of, which is the SDA and SDL community, but I doubt they'll ever give a damn about me. agreed to both Ringo and Third's comment. And I don't know why there's not a dark gem yet. Which is weird, because we've had dark Elite 4s before. Is Caladrius a Lord Elf? I actually can't remember. Hmm. Oh well. Doesn't matter. Thank you, sis. By the way, Left, I just got one thing to say about that. Screw the news. I'm sorry, but screw the news. You know, I should probably stop streaming. I'm up to almost the 4-hour mark, and I still gotta upload this to YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down, guys, instead of just leaving this here for eternity. So, I'm gonna throw that up and that up just to mock people. No, I'm kidding. Well, I gotta get ready to go to bed soon, actually. And I don't remember if I've eaten. I really don't. That's kind of sad. Anyways, you guys are awesome. I'm gonna have to do so much work to splice this up for YouTube. But I will talk to you guys later. Oh, but actually, I got one last question here while I got you on the stream. How many of you caught my tweet and/or Facebook post, which is actually the same thing, saying I was about to start streaming? I'm just curious. And how many of you got it on the Twitch notification? I'm just curious to see where people are getting this from, if you know what I mean. Okay, you got a tweet, you got a tweet, you got a tweet. You got a Twitch, you got a tweet. Interesting. Javin, you don't count. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Oh, Twitch will... Oh, that's right, never mind. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I threw up a Twitter and a Facebook, which is tied to that Twitter, pretty much entirely, specifically to do exactly what I did tonight, to be like, I'm going to be streaming in like 20 minutes. Give people some kind of advance warning. And then people are like, awesome, or something. I'm just hoping it works. That's really what I got. I say Twitter because it doesn't really matter. I've got my Facebook account tied directly to my Twitter, so I just do a twit and it immediately posts it to Facebook too. But I'm going to be trying to do the advance warning thing. Hopefully a little bit more advance warning in the future. This was a little bit impromptu. But I was just curious if it was working. So I'm glad it's working. Yay! Life is great. I will never call it a tweet, ever. I will Twitter. I'm going to start calling it Twitter from now on.